Turn on Night Owls.
your phone for making that call. And get talking across the northeast, please. Because this is Night Owls with Alan Robson.
Welcome everybody to the Night Owls programme, Britain's most listened to. What a night it's going to be this evening. We are starting you off with a challenge as we always do. Tonight's challenge is a good one too. When did you show yourself up? When did somebody else show you up? It's a thing that parents are particularly good at, brothers and sisters too. So do tell the story. When you showed yourself up, when someone showed you up, or maybe you showed someone else up. Pick up your telephones and give us a call. The email that was sent in during the week that set this challenge came from Karen. She was in a house with her sister, and her sister was just bragging about things, and the sister's got the big house, got the nice car, husband with a good job and all that kind of thing. And Karen was just thinking, oh, it's a bit embarrassing that she hasn't quite got what her sister's got yet. And that's life, it's never all the same. And just at that moment, the dog walked in with her sister's adult toy in her mouth, just tootled across the carpet, dropped it at her feet, and then the dog walked out again, as if to put everything into perspective. So tell me your stories too. Things when either you or someone else has shown themselves up. So what were the noises you heard, though?
Well, oh, yeah, just noises.
And what was the woman saying?
No way. Just general noises.
Oh, they're the noises. Okay, so what did you think they were doing?
I just felt like they were having like a laugh on because like they always do it to us. And I looked and it was like my friend's mum and dad having sex. I was like, oh, no.
Were they in bed or on the settee?
In bed. The blankets would get ripped off them and it was sick.
You could see them both naked there.
Yeah. Everything was all hanging out and I was like, oh, no.
And they're the same age as your parents.
Oh no. I don't really want to think about that.
Oh, that's sick. So what did they do? Did they stop?
Well, like, we sort of looked at us and I was like, and I just ran downstairs and I was like sitting in the garden, like cooling down. I was like, no.
I think they were probably upstairs cooling down as well, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I know this is kind of a dodgy question, but I suppose I should ask.
Right.
Were they doing really well?
Oh, no, I didn't even, have a chance to, think about what they were doing.
You know, if you were having, placards in your hand, like they have at ice skating, what kind of score are we talking here?
Oh, no, I don't want to get into that.
Horrific. So, people showing each other up, or, somebody comes in the house and finds you doing, or whatever. We want all those kind of things. When you Well, when you are shown up by somebody, simple as, there's a lot of ways that this can happen. Pick up your telephone, give us a call. I want to find out exactly what your story is, how you were shown up, and how maybe you showed someone else up too. 0191 488 3188. We would love to hear your stories too. And there's a lot of different ways that it can happen. Sometimes it's just people that have got really dodgy habits.
So they see them going all the way downstairs. They had a bucket on the top of the stairs. And the weed in the bucket. And I was sleeping. They had the loft done out. And I was sleeping in the loft, right? And I heard this running water. So I put my head out the hole of the loft.
Right.
And here's the mother-in-law squatting over the bucket.
Oh, horrible.
Hang on.
Horrible.
Oh, you can't see that vision back out. You've seen it.
Horrible.
We had to take turns in emptying it.
Oh dear.
But
to leave it like an ornament at the top of the stairs. Oh, steady.
Them days, the netty was outside.
And also, children have a habit of being able to embarrass you, especially if you're daft enough to take children when you're shopping.
I was in the supermarket, a well-known supermarket with my daughter, and it was on a Friday, and it was packed.
Right.
Now, she was stood at the counter. I think she was getting a pizza or something like that. And I had ordered this thing with the Keelan in the seats on the trolley.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he grabbed my T-shirt, because it was a lovely day, that was all he had on, pulled it up my head and shouted, "Looking on her boobies." Well, everybody laughed. I was wishing the floor would open up and swallow me.
And it always seems to be kids.
We had to go to the nursery and we're all sitting there and the kids all had to get up, stand up one at a time and talk about their home life and what stuff they'd wrote down. When my daughter gets up and she's standing, she says, "Oh yes, we play with Barbies in the house and Mum and Dad look after the dogs. And when the dogs poo on the front carpet, my mum and dad just rub it in with their feet." and we're just sitting there going, "Oh my God!" Everybody who lives in our street are all there as well.
They're all saying, "Keep your shoes on when you go in there. Keep your shoes on." How about that? So, when people embarrass you, it's usually friends or family because they know you better than anybody else. So tell me your stories too. Now, Brian, this is another horrible one that's come in, and this is really excruciating. Brian's got a 14-year-old daughter, and she was wearing denim shorts. And there were those that were kind of frayed at the edge. And she was sitting on a stool right next to him, and he saw a bit of string hanging down from the shorts. So he thought, "I'll pull it." The string was not on the shorts. 14-year-old daughter, she's still not talking to him 3 weeks later. So ways that people have shown you up. It's happened to us all. Tell me yours, we'll tell you ours. And also, are we going to blow our freedom again? We got Boris now thinking, "Oh, it might not happen. Well, it's tomorrow. It'd be kind of nice to know. Possible lockdowns until next spring? Really? 0191 488 3188. What's the bravest food that you've tried recently? Because one of the things that's happened since people have been kind of more trapped in their homes, we've been trying different foods, hotter stuff and more interesting and fascinating things. In the week, I was telling people in our supporters group about some of we've had a variety of additional things that we put in there this week. Drones and secret stories, all kinds of things. However, eating a whelk. How do you eat a whelk? I bought like a seafood platter on an afternoon out at Sea Houses, and this thing it's a nearest thing to it's like a shuttlecock. It's about that size. You just kind of get your teeth through it, let alone anything. How are you supposed to eat a whelk? Do tell if anybody's a whelker. Also, Christian Eriksen, what a shock. Just goes to show, doesn't it, that no matter how healthy you may be or may think you are, You're only seconds away, you know, only seconds away. Scary. Also, snobbery exists. The elite loathe common people. Guy here has worked for a posh family all his life, and he's got to the point of really hating them now. Have you come across snobbery in your life? I know I have. Have you? Now, how have you saved money as well? Guy called Derek says he wants to start cutting back. Where's the best ways to ease back on money? If you've got any tips, I'd love somebody to ring in with those. Also, is a cremation ever really good enough to explain an entire life? There's the thing. Is it? But then again, it is a trip to a church and a funeral. Is that enough to add up an entire life? Also, have you got a relative or a friend who really winds you up? That's kind of what we're talking about when people show you up. And people expect you to find their filthy dog as wonderful as they do, says Paul. He's got 3 members of his family and a next-door neighbour that all have dogs. He says they're all filthy, minging creatures, but they all expect to be able to come to his house and bring the dogs in to run all over the place, and he hates it. Also, have you been a victim of car queuing etiquette? They had some traffic works back end of Kingston Park this past week, and I followed a row of about 50 cars up a back lane to a dead end, and then every single car had to turn around and come back out the other way. They don't do diversions well in the north, do they? If you've got any stories to tell, please do. That was 45 minutes of my day that I could never get back. And also, have you ever hidden something massive from somebody in your family? Have you got something that you just can't bear to tell them? Or maybe it took you 10 years to get the message across. Want those kind of stories too? Pick up your telephone. We have a zillion things to talk about, and of course, the stars will come out at night, and we got a competition for you. But as you know, it's all about the music, and tonight we are starting with an absolute classic from one of the bands that I've never seen in concert but would love to. And when you say greatest hits, this just sells it.
Hi everybody, welcome. What a night we're going to have here. What a place.
welcome to a place that was previously known as Medcourt. Med, a Welsh phrase meaning healing, court meaning land, healing land, because so many things here had herbal significance. This was real life apothecaries back in the day. Welsh settlers were here first, historically, and it was called Medcourt until about 780 AD, after 800, when Christianity became far more popular on the island. Then it became Lindisfarne. Lind, after the name stream. Farana was originally meant traveller, because back then this was on land. There was no long alleyway to the mainland as there is now on Holy Islands, where we are. However, Lindis means stream, and as I say, the Farana part means traveller. So you would travel up a stream to this high land, because this was higher back then, and you would visit all of the places of religious significance. This particular trip's going to be amazing. We are not alone, or I'm not alone. Tony Hollywood McShane is here too, and he's just handing over the microphone and the camera to Kenny. And we've been here for a few hours now. We know we've got all kinds, in all directions here as well.
Everywhere. It's so busy. I mean, there's so much to do.
And we've already heard one of the strange phenomenon here is a howling from the sea that a lot of sailors who have traveled in these parts, people who are in fishing boats now, claim that they hear the dead howling from the sea, those that have been lost, particularly to the causeway and the particularly strong tides. When I was just a little boy, about 11 or 12, one of my infant school teachers, a lady called Mrs. Gibson, who was lovely, lost her life on this causeway. She had problems with her car halfway over. Her husband, who was a little bit fitter than she was, ran to the island to get help. By the time he got help coming the other way, the tide had come in, swept the car away, and she lost her life, and they never found her body. They found the car 5 miles away. So the power of this tide is amazing. We've got a building here, a hotel.
Just down here.
I will point you in all of these directions, but Tony, let Kenny loose. Kenny, you come out too. Kenny's been talking to me about this particular place having a feel like no other, and it's absolutely true, isn't it, Kenny?
Absolutely love this place. I mean, it's like, it used to be like a second home for me, but when you walk around it again and you revisit it again, it just all comes back to life, and loads of memories. The Priory, all Bamburgh Castle in the distance there, just amazing.
You have to come and see this, because Harrison Ford, as you know, is making his new Raiders of the Lost Ark film in Bamburgh Castle. We've already seen fires. In the distance, you might be able to see some lights on the beach. They're filming there. It was on fire, the castle, before, so presumably Harrison is battling the German fighters. Yes. And we've also got a fire over yonder that we think is to do with the production. So looking forward to the movie. And just remember, when you see the long distance shots of the movie, look for torchlight on the hills, because that will be us. We're going to be trying to spoil every shot they've got if we possibly can. Let us in, let us in, let us in. Bottom line is, this is an amazing. And if you're into Viking history, whoa, we got a load. There's a lot of ghostly activity on this place, and I'm going to basically, there's a lot to do. So the first hour is going to be very busy. Second hour is going to be intense, because we're going into very, very dark places where there's no light whatsoever. So we're going to need your eyes. But come with me first, we'll show you where we're going. We are walking down now. This, again, is a thing called the Hof. And you can get in and you can see it's just a small little watchtower. They've built a better watchtower alongside it. But this, of course, it tells you
the voice of the North.
Alan Robson's Night Owls, the phone-in that gets you talking.
Greatest Hits Radio.
Now, as I mentioned before, we've got a whole batch of questions for you. Puzzles to work out. You put the 4 puzzles together, and there's something that all of the answers have in common. You've got to work out that link, the greatest hit link here on Greatest Hits Radio Northeast. So let us crack on with our first caller tonight, and it is none other than Joy from Willington. Hello, Joy.
Hello, Alan.
Hello, my darling. What can we do for you tonight, Joy?
Yeah, it's about the most embarrassing moment.
Oh, right, okay. What's happened?
Oh, it was a long time. I'm going back 30-odd years ago.
Wow, right.
But we were on holiday up in Scotland with quite a few friends.
Right.
And my daughter was one of them where she had to go to the toilet no matter where she was.
Right,
And I was always very open with her, so I took her into the toilets, and she didn't want to go to the toilet. She just wanted to nose. And she was looking on the machines on the wall, and she was like, "What's that, Mum? What's them for? And what's this for?"
Right.
And obviously she said, "What's that?" And I said, "Oh, they're condoms." And she said, "Oh, what's them?" I said, "Oh, something the men use."
Right.
And I never thought no more. We went back into the restaurant. We sat down at the table.
Right.
And and she started giggling, and Auntie Margaret at the other end of the table said, "What are you laughing at, Donna?" And she went, "There's condoms in the girls' toilet," at the top of her voice. Well, the whole restaurant went deadly silent, and I could have absolutely crawled under the table.
Yeah,
That
no.
embarrassed.
Yeah, it's not a great moment. There's just certain items that purely by their nature, any mention of them in mixed company, and everybody's gonna laugh, and you're gonna turn beetroot. That's just how it's gonna be.
I honestly could have crawled under the table, and I mean, she'll never live it down. I mean, she's 34-year-old now. She'll never live that one down.
That was brilliant. Well, that's exactly the kind of thing we're looking for, where people, because that wasn't your fault. Yeah, but your own flesh and blood showed you a big style. That's the kind of thing we're looking for. Brilliant.
Oh, she did.
Lovely stuff, Joy.
No worries.
Thanks,
then.
love. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
How about that? You see, that's exactly the kind of thing. It's when people just completely show you up. You know, when I mentioned certain items, I can remember one time in the far distant past, a lot of years ago, I was asked by a wife, one of them, to go and buy some certain items from a supermarket. Went, bought said items, and they look a little bit like bullets that Mexicans would wear in their belts. However, this box was not secure, and they emptied out all over the belt when they were being put through, to such a degree that the woman had to shout to another woman on a different till who was bagging stuff to go and get some more of these personal items for ladies. And everybody's staring at the bloke and the picking. Oh, it was just one of those moments where you totally lose control of your life. Just for that moment when you're showing up and you're glowing. Everybody's had that feeling. I want to know yours. So call us now. 0191 488 3188. We've got Rye, who's in Barnard Castle. Hi, Rye.
Hi, Alan. You all right?
Yes, I'm good. What story have you got for us tonight?
Good. Just really about the paranormal side of things that you did.
Right.
I watched your video in Bishop Auckland, the Mary Ann Cotton story.
Great, yes.
Yeah, very interesting. Really, really good stuff.
Thank you.
You should head this way. Barnard Castle is absolutely full of ghostly stories and history. We're famous enough at the minute anyway, so for obvious reasons. So,
Sure.
yeah, I think you should venture this way.
We've had, in fact, I have on my personal email something that one of you guys sent. It may well have been you, but someone else sent this thing in called Bloody Barnard Castle. Come and check it out, and all these places are available. So you're on our list to do. That's a guarantee. We are going to come to Barney, so that's not an issue. The question isn't whether we're coming; it's when. So it may well be if it's across the next week or so. We might invite, if we're allowed. We don't know whether we're free yet till tomorrow, but if we are free, I'm looking to get other people involved. And come along with us and experience what there is to experience in a place, because nobody knows it better than the people who actually live there, you see. That's the thing.
That's it. There's an old abbey that stands right across the river, Eggleston Abbey. That's got a story dating way back to like the 1300s. It's supposed to be haunted by a monk. So yeah, pretty interesting. So,
have you ever seen anything there? You mentioned that there's a lot of history about it, and you're quite right, there is in that neck of the woods, but have you ever witnessed anything, came close to seeing something?
I've never seen anything, but I've heard voices, and I've heard sort of just the odd sort of thing. It's hard to explain really, but down by the river, there's a big bridge, and that's supposed to be haunted by a lady that was killed by the monk.
Right.
A lot of people have said they've seen her crossing the bridge, then disappearing, screams in the trees by the river where she was drowned.
Right.
So yeah, there's quite a bit around that area.
Brilliant. Well, I mean, for anybody who lives anywhere, what I would ask you to do is just jot down where and what stories that you've heard. I'll then try and research them as best I can, the historical side of things, rather than the bloke next door said there was a miner who, because there's a lot of those kind of things that kick about when we're talking paranormal. I'd like to try and get the historical side added in for good measure so we know where we stand. But I think we're going to have to visit Barnard Castle. I mean, I don't think there's any option that we're not going to come. We're going to be on our way probably sooner than you think.
Yeah, I look forward to that.
Great. No worries. What got you interested in all this in the first place then?
I have been since I was younger, really. A lot of my friends aren't really into that sort of thing.
Sure.
It's a bit of an odd subject, but
it's that Marmitey thing again. You're either in it or you're not, and if you're not, you pay no attention to it at all.
I think more aren't than are.
Right.
But yeah, I find it interesting. Definitely the history and the stories behind things. Yeah,
absolutely. Hey, well, good stuff. Thank you very much. And
no problem.
You never know, we might see you in Barney. Fingers crossed.
I look forward to it.
Thanks, man. All the best. There's Rye, and he's the second person in about a fortnight to point us in that direction. Let's go to Billingham. We've got Jill there. Hello, Jill.
Hello.
Hello. What can we do for you, Jill?
Well, I'd like to tell you about a project that I am bringing to the Teesside area this Christmas.
Right, what's that?
And hopefully you and your lovely listeners can help us to raise awareness and obviously some support for it as well.
Sure, what is it?
Okay, the project is called the Christmas Dinner.
Right.
And there's a number of them across the country, all of which are arranged by volunteers within that community to support care leavers in their community on Christmas Day.
Right.
The mission is that no care leaver should be alone on Christmas Day.
Right.
So we come together and we put on transport to get to our venue. We give them a meal, we entertain them, basically spend the whole day with them.
It sounds wonderful, but I would imagine you've got to raise a fair bit of money to make this happen.
Yeah, we do. But it's not the first one I've done, and the more I do it, the more I realise the magic of the project itself.
Right.
Because when people get it, they're totally on board with it, and it really is amazing.
It sounds the thing that everybody should be getting behind, whatever.
This is it, yeah.
So where's it going to be held at? The Grand
this year it'll be in central Middlesbrough.
Right.
We do keep the venue secret for a number of reasons, one of which obviously is safeguarding.
Sure.
And also because we don't want it on social media and have people not on the guest list turning up.
Gotcha. No, I understand that. But it will be in central Middlesbrough, you reckon?
Yes, it will.
Central Middlesbrough, and that's to cover everybody from the Teesside area.
Teesside, yeah.
Wonderful. Well, it sounds great. In what way can people help you then?
Well, we have a website, and on there we've listed a number of ways that people can get involved.
Right. How do they find the website? What's it called?
It's TCD.
TCD.
M and T.
M and T.
Yes, .co.uk.
.co.uk, right. So TCDM and T.co.uk.
Yes.
Right, that's the website. If you want to go and try and check that one out. Teesside Care Leavers. We're not going to leave a man nor a woman behind this year. That's the plan.
Absolutely, that would be amazing.
How did you get involved with it then?
I was through the power of radio. I was travelling at the time, and I heard the founder of the project, Lem Sase, being interviewed on radio.
Right.
And the whole thing resonated with me. And I literally had to pull over and write his name down with lipstick in case I forgot it by the time I got home.
Oh, that's tremendous. Well, just so it hit you in the heart and you had to get involved with it.
Absolutely. It had never occurred to me that was a group of people who would need support. I think as society we tend to sometimes think that every young person in care is a success story, and sadly they're not all sad, Some of them at 16 can leave care, and there's too many of them just in little bed sits or sofa surfing and that, and for them Christmas is a really awful time. It
is one of those things where you like to think when someone comes out of care that they're shiny, polished and a finished individual, and the reality is many of them are far, far, far from it in some cases.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. And because they've been in care and X amount of pounds has been spent on them, the government / society / social services think job done and leave them to it, pretty much.
But I also think that we as a society have to pick up where the government or the local council leaves off. They can't be responsible forever.
No, I get that.
So, I understand they've done their bits, and I think that's where we have to pick it up.
Right. Well, this is one way of doing it. Before you go, though, Jill, I have to ask you about your accent. Where the devil are you from?
Originally from South Africa.
I thought there was a hint. I didn't want to say in case I was 5,000 or 6,000 miles wrong, but no, there's a hint still there. How long were you out there? I mean, presumably born and bred.
I was born there.
Yeah.
No, I was born there. My husband's originally from Billingham.
Right. How does that happen? Was he on safari? How did you meet this man?
No, I think it was back in the 70s when the government schemed to bring people over to South Africa. I think he paid a princely sum of £5 or something to go over.
Wow, bargain. Came back with a wife. How about that? That's money well spent.
Well, you could say that.
Absolutely. Hey, no, lovely talking to you, Jill. Let's hope it's a huge success. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate what you do so much. No, it is one of those things where, and I know round about Christmas time, a lot of us maybe think a little bit more about other people than we do across the rest of the year. It's been tough this year, hard enough just coping when either you're not working so much or you're not working at all. It's a tough time for everybody, with people who were furloughed not getting their job back again afterwards. Awful lot more of that to come. Don't think that that's all over and done with yet. And it just seems that at every corner there's something where people have a need, and it does seem to be a bottomless pit at times, but we should not ever stop trying to do what we can. I remember one year we were given a bunch of money from a couple of businesses who said, look, just make sure that this gets to the people that need it the most over Christmas, which was a fabulous thing to do. And I went around the genuine homeless people around the region, and I drove to all the centres and pulled them to one side and said, what would make your life better? Tried to get them properties, because we had contacts within, people that had flats and could get people off the streets. But more importantly, in some cases they wanted to stay on the streets, but they needed a warm this Or if you had a tent, that would be great. Can you get her this? Can you get her that? We ended up getting pretty much everything that they asked for. Yeah, but it's never enough because that's just then. What do they need now? You know, it's a tough show. 0191 488 3188. Let's go to Gateshead. We have Edwin there. Hello, Edwin.
Hello, Alan. How are you doing, mate?
I'm good, man.
Follow that one. That's a good cause, isn't it?
Heavyweight's great.
It's
Absolutely.
a good medium. This program, like you really do a good show, like.
Right, thanks.
Getting the point across, mate.
Thanks for coming on. What are you talking about?
It was
then,
just about what you were talking about earlier. We were talking about people wanting to save money and stuff like that.
Yeah. Have you got what do you do?
Yeah, there's a thing called the Motley Fool. I used to watch it on, I don't know if you've seen Working Lunch, used to be on BBC Two. It was on years ago.
Right.
They took it off, but it was a good programme. But there was a couple of guys called the Motley Fool, and they brought a book out, the UK Investment Guide.
Right.
That's a really good book, and it tells you about unit trusts and trackers and stuff like that. Right. Putting your money into trackers and the unit trusts. You can get like a £25 savings plan a month to put money in.
Right.
You know, because I've seen on the telly where people think they were trying to save money and stuff like that.
Right.
Or you can get like ones for kids, like a child trust fund. You know, put it inside like an investment plan.
Right.
And it will grow over years. You know, it makes a tiny bit of money over the years. They do go up and down, but over the long run, they make a tiny bit of money. You know.
It sounds pretty good. Is it something you put money in yourself?
I have just opened one up myself. I've had it going for a while, but I took money out. Then I started putting it back in again. There's nobody touching your money. It tracks the Bank of England base rate, just above the base rate, you know.
Gotcha. Right.
But, it's a really good thing. It's called a tracker, unit trust tracker.
Right. I'll look into that because I don't know enough about it. But
I'm with Fidelity, the one I'm with Fidelity. They're a good company.
So how much does it, across a year, how much do you benefit then, tail end of the year?
Well, it all depends because you can get the UK all share, which is like 700, 800 companies, smaller companies, or you can get the UK 100 top companies. But the bank, they basically work about the same, really. But the ones that didn't do well, the ones that do well, it balances out, you know.
So roughly how much are we talking about, though? Hundreds of pounds or thousands
well,
of pounds?
Well, it all depends on what you put in, how much you're prepared to put in, like £25 a month.
Right.
I mean, it takes a while for it to grow. I mean, it doesn't work like that. It'll be like a couple of years for it to grow, you know what I mean?
Right.
They say like a minimum of at least 3 to 5 years for it to sit there and grow. It's money that you're not going to use, basically. You're just going to put it away and let it grow.
Right.
But it's also a good thing for kids, like a child trust fund for kids, or you know, like a newborn. So it's in your name till like 18. Then once they turn 18, it goes over to them, you know.
Right.
I got set one up for my son, but I took money out where I give it to him for driving lessons and stuff like that.
But at least it was there for that, though, because I mean, driving lessons are expensive, so at least you had somewhere to go for the money. That was great.
It's a great idea. Yeah. It's called a tracker. UK tracker.
Got it. I've made note of it. Thank you very much. Anyway,
Ed.
Good man. Thank you. No, good lad. A great idea. Now, talking about the homeless and what have you, we've dealt with this a fair bit on the show. Well, in interesting and sad ways.
I was sleeping on beds, settees, park benches.
Anywhere you could
this,
find.
That and the other. Well, basically, yeah, but I was able to, I was going to the gym to get a shower to keep myself clean, my hygiene up.
Yeah.
I was able to go back to the hostel during the day, but it just shows that you go from 1 minute being where you've got everything that you need, and the next week, everything that you had is just gone.
How about that? And there sometimes can be difficult working out where the truth lies.
I was in the Royal Marines for 4 years. I was blinding in my left eye by a bit of shrapnel. When I'm going through town and stuff like that and I'm seeing homeless, I mean, I know a lot of them, personally, in my opinion, are fake. But it's hard to distinguish the fakes between the real ones.
It is, that's true. No,
you know,
right.
There's like groups of them. They'll go around, they'll beg, and then they'll go around the corner and they'll get changed and jump in the car and away they go. But how do you distinguish between the real ones and the wrong ones? It disgusts me because they'll sit for an hour with their blanket and and within an hour, 2 hours, they'll have made 40, 50 pound.
Yeah.
And then away they'll go.
And then, of course, there's the problem of people coming out of the forces expecting the country that many of them have fought for and lost friends fighting for. They expect a little something, and they end up on the streets.
Quite easy for them to fall through the gaps once they leave, and the support generally stops as soon as you've actually left the military.
I just think it's really sad, because if you guys go putting your life on the line, the very least that people at home can do is give you a home where you feel safe, and if you're not well, look after you. You know, it just seems basic to me.
100%. And I mean, even being out this evening, homeless veterans have approached us. It's unbelievable how many guys are out there. And yeah, I dread to think what I've seen and what I've done in the past.
So, tell me your stories, if you will be so kind. 0191 488 3188. Let's go to Cheshire, where the cheese is mighty fine. And we find Rebecca there. Hello, Rebecca.
Hi, Alan. How you doing?
I'm good. Good to hear from you again. Do tell what story you got for us today.
Just a quick one about being shown up.
Right. What's happened?
Well, it's to do with kids, because you can always count on them to be brutally honest, really, can't you? And say things you shouldn't say.
Yeah.
It was a couple of years ago when my son was about 5, and he came home from school one night and he was a bit worried, saying he'd not handed in the note for his teacher today, and he was a little bit kind of, worried about it, going, "Oh, I've not done it today, I've not done it." I was thinking, what note? And you get inundated with things, don't you, for forms and sign this and sign that. So I thought, I must have missed something. So I texted my mum friends and said, "Right, what have I missed? I was meant to hand in a form apparently or something." And they said, "No, there's nothing." So I went back to my son and quizzed him and said, he said, "No, I've forgotten to hand in that note to Mr. B. I'll call him Mr. B. I'm not using his full name because I don't know if he listens and I'm embarrassed enough already." But he said, "You know that note from you?" And I was like, "What note?" And he said, "The ones that you send for him in my lunchbox." And I was like, oh my God, my son had been giving his teacher the notes that I'd left for my son in his lunchbox that were meant for my son, obviously, but there were notes saying things like, "I can't wait to see you after school." One had said, "I can't wait to see your gorgeous face." There was some that were like, when you wear lipstick and do like an imprint of your lips, and then and I'd been taking them in for weeks and giving them to me, saying, "This is from my mum for you." And I was like, oh my God, the amount of parents' evenings. And well, I've sat there across from him, "Hi, Mr. B." He must have been thinking, "Is that Dorker mum coming, quick, run." That poor man.
But you can just imagine him leaving school every night, and he'll wait till everybody else has gone home, and he'll be twitching the curtain to see if there's somebody waiting for him.
I know. Oh, no.
That's
and he never
brilliant.
said anything, and my son never said anything. And obviously after that, I never said anything. But yeah, it was kind of, every time I saw him after that, I didn't really know what to say. I couldn't really look him in the face again after that. I just thought, right,
If there's somebody, if there's some movie writer, there's a movie right there where the teacher gets the wrong idea and then stalks the woman. Oh, I can see it in my head already. It's a Netflix. It's waiting to happen right there.
Well, I'm not starring in it. I'll tell you that.
But to be honest, you don't really know. Like being a mum, it's like love you lots, kisses, all of this stuff.
And I never was putting love mummy on the end or anything like that. It was kind of, it was just, I can't wait to see you at pickup, or, like little love hearts and little kisses and things like that.
So you never ever signed mum or mum or anything?
Is what, sorry?
You never put mum or mum or...
No, well, this is the thing. I was racking my brains thinking, right, what have I been sending? And I know, but most of the time I just put something like, "I can't wait to see you after school," or, but I never would sign them love mum, because he knew they were from me.
Right.
So yeah, and he'd been handing them over straight to his teacher, saying, "These are for you, from my mum."
This is fantastic. I love it, because you do know that in the staff room he's been going, "Hey, to all the other teachers, have you seen what I
got another one?"
And he's probably putting another of his aftershave on, thinking, "Hey, tonight could be the night. When am I going to meet this woman? Amazing.
He must have been dreading parents' evenings and things like that.
Or not. He might have been. What, was he dressed extra smart that night?
Yeah, had an extra little, French, a little carnation in his lapel or something. No, I don't know.
Yeah, you just see him but there happens to be a red rose lying on the desk that he's kind of just...
Poor man.
Oh, wow. But
What's
that's
the most
just...
embarrassing thing that's happened to you on air, Alan?
On air? Oh,
Yeah.
there's... Oh,
There's been loads.
oh dear. Far too many, really. And usually, because everybody's part of the show...
Yeah.
You don't mind tripping up or saying the wrong thing or falling over.
Yeah.
You don't mind those because people actually do realise, they're human beings. And
exactly.
Isn't that just like Alan? It's the kind of thing even at the beginning of this show, I made just the dumbest, stupidest. But hey, I'm not going to go into that one. But that was.
Go on.
It was just a fairly stupid thing. I come in to this studio after spending hours prepping in a studio a little bit further down. The studio further down, I've been in hours and hours doing a variety of things and podcasts and blogs, bits and bobs. So did that. So you come into this studio and for some reason your head says you've set this studio up exactly the same as you've set that up because there's no reason why they should be any different.
Yeah.
So I sit down, I put my headphones, I'm ready to start. And my headphones don't work, which means I can't hear the music, which means you're not really sure when to talk and how to keep the beats and all of that kind of stuff. So there was for those watching especially, they'd be going, what's going on? There's a problem. And then Tony runs in and turns my volume up. I memean, that's ridiculous. How many years have I done this job? Turn me volume up? Is that what it was? And I just hadn't turned on. Oh, dear. So anyway, you could call that any number of things, but blatant stupidity it is. One of the funniest ones, in retrospect, could have got me sacked at the time, but in retrospect, we did a rock show on a Saturday that was very popular within the rocky crowd. And we were doing a Christmas special. And I filled the studio with as many rock people as possible. We had Brian Johnson from AC/DC was in.
Wow.
A lot of local bands like people from Tigers of Pantang, for those that can remember those kind of bands. Some folk singers, some solo artists. Robin George was a big name at the time. It didn't happen for him, sadly. However, there was a lot of people that were relatively big at the Moor. And I had about 15 around the desk for this Christmas special. Everybody was having a laugh and popping a cork and doing all the things that you should never do while you're working on something like this. I wasn't drinking, which makes what I did even worse.
At least you would have had an excuse, Alan.
Absolutely. So anyway, because there were so many people in, I had extra microphones placed, so everybody could chip in. So I had 5 sets of microphones and 2 or 3 people on each microphone. So when I played a piece of music, you had to lift the fader that had the music on it and then go shut, 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 shut with all the other microphones.
Right.
Well,
you had a lot to shut down.
I had a lot to shut down, and only one to keep alive, right? And everybody else had to be dead while the music was playing, and everybody at home was enjoying. Yeah. And I remember the song even. It was "Legs" by ZZ Top. Don't know whether you know the song, but classic kind of thumpy car driving rock song.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, guys, and here, what request? And somebody says, I want to hear "Legs" by ZZ Top. Here it is. Boom, boom, boom. Now I went close. Thought I'd done everything perfectly. And then about a minute in, the switchboard just lit up. Every call on the switchboard lit up at once, which usually says, hell's bells, what's happening? Then I look at the desk, and I'd closed all the faders, including the music fader.
Oh, no.
And they just had silence for a minute and a half. So, panicking, because I'd only been doing radio for about 2 years, still should have known better, no excuses. And so what you're supposed to do and what you're trained to do is to open your microphone,
Right.
explain what's going on, and then play some ZZ Top. But now you got to
Yeah.
remember this was a time of turntables,
Right.
records.
Yeah.
So if you switch the turntable off, it doesn't stop immediately. It goes.
Yeah.
But also, on the reverse of that, when you start it again, it's in the middle of a song, so it goes... So all that's to come. But what was worse was, when I realised what I did, I opened my fader, as you're trained to do, but I said the sh word. I just went, oh, said that word, then closed my fader, then there's nothing going out, and all anybody's heard was me say, and then you heard... legs. That was.
Oh, no.
But they see what made it worse was I had 14 people watching me do all of that, and they were on the floor. They were just
big names as well.
They were just wetting themselves, and I'm sitting there like just it's amateur hour, But
at least you gave them something to laugh about, Ellen.
Absolutely. I'm sure that's the case. But you don't know whether they're listening because they like what you do or whether you're just a total embarrassment. That's the thing. But I'll take it either way. That's the thing. But good question. Thank you for asking, Rebecca.
No problem.
Thanks
no
for
problem,
calling.
Alan.
Take it
Lovely
easy.
to take you. Bye now.
Great. I just love that's one of the best stories. And I do mean it. If there is a network looking for a storyline, it's there, waiting for you. Now, we do get stars and celebs in, and at a time when this man was at his absolute greatest, he even took a call. I'm talking about Steve Harley from Cockney Rebel. Daniel from Gosforth's with us. Hiya, Daniel. Hello there.
Right.
Do you want to talk to Steve?
Yep.
Okay, go on then.
Right. What was your inspiration when you were about 13? Who was your favourite band?
Yeah, when you were 13, growing up.
Great question. In 1964, the Beatles they were releasing their second album by then.
Oh, right.
They'd had about 10 number ones by then, hadn't they? From Me to You and I Want to Hold Your Hand. I was 13, but more importantly, Bob Dylan had made his second album by then.
Yeah.
I was 12 when the first one came out, and Dylan changed my life.
Right, so Bob Dylan's the answer to that question. Anything
At
else?
13, Dylan was, he proved that you could write poetry to pop tunes.
Do you know who he is, Daniel? Daniel, you know who he is. Good. Okay, any other questions while you're on?
Yeah.
Go on in. Interview away, I don't care. Go on.
What kind of music do you like now?
Yeah, you got any favourites now?
Yeah, lots. You haven't got to go far from here to get to Sheffield, and out of Sheffield, the best band in modern times is the Long Pigs.
Great.
The Long Pigs.
Yeah.
Their second album is utterly magical, and I love Coldplay very much.
Yeah.
I hear everything. Is it Daniel?
It is.
Yes.
I hear everything. My son is 18, my daughter is 15, and they play me everything.
Yeah,
And you know what they do?
Yeah.
This is what you're going to do with your dad. They come to me and go, the new Westlife album's coming out. I think we need it. Greta, why would I need the Westlife album? Have they got one of my songs on it? Because if not, I ain't keen. And she says, well, Dad, and I buy it, and then, what the... My son's like that, but he listens to everything from Bob Dylan to Pink Floyd and back again.
Right, that's good.
And the modern stuff. No, I love modern rock music. Is very, very good.
Okay.
Over here, they've got the Priory. I'll point you in the direction of it. The skies have been magnificent today. We're starting at 10 o'clock because we said it would be late at 9. It's late at 10, but we're still going to be doing 10 because the light we will be losing very, very soon. The Priory, and if you put your torch on, Kenny, and you put it on him, you see him? That's in Cuthbert, right there.
Just there.
So, obviously, we can't get in here late at night, but we can see everything. And we've already seen a little bit of mist, a little bit of sea fret pouring in, and it completely changes the atmosphere. If you look across the Priory, got stories about the Priory, amazing tales, and you see the old castles. The priory was started by St. Aidan, not Cuthbert. No, a lot of people think it was Cuthbert, because King Oswald, the King of Northumbria, St. Oswald's Hospice, same Oswald, if you're looking, it became a base for Christianity, including, of course, Cuthbert. All the leading priests became saints. And I know I hate to burst their balloon, but they had slaves working for them and making mead and inscribing Bibles. And Cuthbert's body was here too. And when they opened up St. Cuthbert's grave, this was back in 1104, they found his super rich status, because when most people were poor, living only into their 30s if they were lucky here, Cuthbert had buried with him solid gold scissors, onyx jewelry, and a solid gold chalice that was worth so much in 1104 you could have bought the island for the profit. Excuse me. So this just flowed in my mouth. In the distance, we're getting a little bit of activity with at Castle. I think there's gunshots and what have you in the distance. I don't know whether you can see the lights there.
We can actually smell the smoke from there, can't we?
We can, absolutely. Of course, if you look further north, you can see the castle. We're heading there, and we're heading to the tombs that are behind the castle. There were other saints here as well. Saint Ceolwulf, Saint Eadbert, and they were all kings of Northumbria. But as soon as they became Christian, they were given sainthood because they led their people to transform themselves into Christians too. This is one of the original churches just ahead here. The white building that you can see through the priory as well is the Manor House Hotel. Their restaurant is seriously haunted because it overlooks the old priory, the old church, and they see the spirits of small boys running around. And also, can I just point you to this badge here? Don't forget, if you share our feed and spread it out to the whole world and beyond, if you have any friends on other planets, tell them to, for whoever spreads it and whoever shares it is in the running for one of our legendary Night Owl badges. We would love your help with that if you can. We need you to become supporters. We need to grow, and we want as many of you on board as we possibly can. So we're heading down at the present moment to take you to the haunted restaurant and the graveyard and the priory and the old church. On the headland here, this ground area is an old church from the 600s. Incidentally, Saint Ceolwulf, who was the king of Northumbria, around the time that this church was being built, and it was being built here on the headland so everybody could see it, because it was a statement. The church wanted to show people that Christianity was rich and wealthy, and if it's rich and wealthy, then it's powerful, and if it's got power, people wanted to be part of all of that, because you got to remember, this was pagan land for 6,000 years before the Christians came here. And then, of course, they had to do whatever they could to get rid of the heathens, the pagans, to get people into the church. But this Ceolwulf was buried here on Lindisfarne, when it wasn't Lindisfarne, but when it was Bedcourt. He was buried here, and they decided, because he was a saint, because he was a king and he had a lot of money and a lot of pull, they named him a saint. They dug him up and they said, it's too important for your body to be here. We're going to send your body to Norham-on-Tweed, where he was born. But because you're so important, we're going to cut your head off and send it to Durham Cathedral. And that's what they did. Nice. And again, they did the same thing with Cuthbert. He was in bits as well. And I don't know what it is about religious artifacts, but they just seem to want them, and they tend to chop lumps off people. So anyway, this is the old church. You can see how it was laid out. Yeah. The altar would have been at that end.
Entrance down here.
Absolutely. And the entrance, you came in that side. But this is the problem, because you see, if you've got a building that's rich and wealthy in a place, well, anybody on a ship passing by sees a
Yeah.
building that's a church, knows there's a lot of wealth attached to it, so therefore it would be a easy target.
Yeah.
And it's the people who targeted this place that this story's about more than anything. It's about the Vikings. Because the Vikings came here. And if you turn around, that sound, you see where the boats are directly ahead of you? That's where the Vikings came. They came down there. In 792, the first one, 793, they completely took Holy Island, getting easy money from rich priests who they despised because their view was that the priests were living off the backs of poor people. And of course, they were. And a Northumbrian scholar, a guy from around the Morpeth area, used to work for Charlemagne. Charlemagne was king of the Lombards, king of the Franks, the French, and also Holy Roman Empire. Charlemagne was an amazing warrior, and yet he had this guy called Alcuin, who was one of his scholars, and he wrote this, Alcuin, about Holy Island. Never before has such terror appeared in Britain from this pagan race. The heathens poured over the blood of the saints, trampling over their bodies in the temple of God, this temple here, like they were dung in the streets. And they landed where the boats, you can see, just down from where the castle is now. We're walking around and down. So head in this direction. We're going through some amazingly ornate turnstiles here. Because when the Danish Vikings returned to conquer all of northern Britain, making York, Jorvik, their capital, the monks here bought a caravan of carts to take them and their fortune away for safety, leaving the monks, who were educated slaves, to be butchered by the Vikings. And they skinned them and they nailed their bodies to the monastery door. And they would take, you've got to remember that when we say skinned them, it sounds like that's pretty horrible. Let's walk quite quickly along here because I know we tend to lose signal along here. But let me, if I can, just tell you a little bit about the skinning, because this is really kind of important. When you skin, have you got a decent signal? Are we all right at this point?
For now.
If you skin somebody, the whole point of skinning was actually not the killing. It was the keeping alive. So what they had to do was they would start at your feet and they would take your toenails off. They would take the skin off each toe. They would take the skin off your legs, making sure that if you passed out with the pain, they'd wait till you woke up again before they continued. They took the flesh off both of your legs. They took the flesh off your genitals. They took the flesh right the way up.
Post of opposition leader. In sport, England have kicked off their Euro 2020 campaign with a 1-0 win against Croatia at Wembley. The result provided some revenge after Gareth Southgate's team were beaten by the same opponents in the World Cup semi-finals 3 years ago. These fans say it was a positive start to the competition.
Not a bad start at all. We got so much depth. We could win it. I think given England are just awful at exercising their ghosts, the fact that Croatia have beaten us several times recently and we've managed to get past that may actually put us in good stead.
And Novak Djokovic fought from 2 sets down against Stefanos Tsitsipas to win the French Open tennis title. He's now moved to within 1 Grand Slam victory of equalling Roger Federer's men's singles record. From Sky News, I'm Michael Worrell.
Thank you, Michael. Good to have you with us tonight. It is Greatest Hits Radio Northeast. Thank you for being with us. And do not forget, we have an amazing lineup across the day on Greatest Hits. So make sure you check it out with Rossi. And, of course, we have Simon with us now, who we've got a bottomless pit of great hits, if that's your thing. So make sure you join us when you can. At the beginning of each hour, I'm going to be showering you with a Greatest Hit style question. And tonight's is Iron Maiden had a greatest hit featuring 666. But what was it? Iron Maiden had a greatest hit featuring 666. But what was it? That is your first question and hopefully your first answer. Write it down And when you've got all 4 answers, you tell me what links them all together. If you are Geet clever as oot, and that's what you would have to be. Right, let's dive into it. As you know, we have been this week in our ghostliness. We visited Holy Island and came up with all kinds of great history, great stories in all directions, nice people. And Glynis, I think, has been there. Glynis from Seaton Delaval. Hi, Glynis. Hello, Glynis. Hello, Glynis. I shall try again. Hello, Glynis.
Hi, hello.
Oh, there she is. Hello, darling. I gather you've got a Holy Island story for us tonight.
I have. It was when I was watching the show on Thursday, and you mentioned the sound of wolves.
Yes.
And it made me chuckle because I remember years ago when me and my husband first started going out.
Right.
And we decided to go on like a summer camp trip. Because I had no money, but it was like early days in the relationship, so we're being quite proper.
Right.
And we took 2 tents with us.
Right.
As you do.
That is terribly proper, right.
It was. And anyway, we ended up at Holy Island, and you're not allowed to camp or anything up there.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a woman like in a trailer selling strawberries.
Right.
And we went and had a word with her and said, oh, it's anywhere that we could camp just for the night. And she said, oh, yeah, that's my field over there, just behind the wall. You're fine, you can just put your tent up there for the night. And I thought, oh, cracking, great, we'll just do that, we'll stay.
Dead easy, yeah.
And during the night, I mean, he was in the tent next door and I was in my tent, and it's just the howling started, and I was absolutely terrified. So I remember shouting to Mark, can you come in my tent? I can hear wolves or something.
And I can imagine him going, don't worry, I'll defend you. Why don't you come into my tent? Yeah, okay.
It was done pretty quickly. Anyway, so I ended up staying the night in the same tent.
Mm-hmm.
And I was absolutely terrified to get any sleep. But anyway, the next morning, I got woken up and I could hear just a stampeding sound. And I was like, oh my God, what's that? And I just put the zip up the tent a tiny little bit. And there was all these sheep being herded into the field around us. I kind of quickly got ready and came out, and there was a farmer there. I'm like, oh, thank you very much for like letting us stay in the field. He's like, I never said you could stay in my field. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, because there's a big sign as I was driving in. There's a sign just before you get into Holy Island, or the island itself, and it says no camping on this. It actually says it. So presumably there's a campground that people sell, but you're not allowed to camp anywhere else, I suppose. So you got away with it anyway. Did you ever find out what was making that noise?
Nah.
Because isn't it weird? Somebody said it's seals. It's not seals. We were down by the coast. We didn't see any of that. What was making that noise?
I don't know, but it sounded like wolves to me.
It's a strange, spooky, cryy kind of. It was just
it's really strange.
just odd. It is. But I'm glad I hope you had a good night. And was he a gentleman?
You know what? It was 30 years ago, so and I went on to marry him, so it must have been all right.
Well, that's exactly not an answer at all, is it, Glynis? Come on. This is like, well, I ended up... But did you end up having to marry him? That's the question.
No, I didn't.
All right. That's good. Now, I just think if I was that guy in the tent next door, wolves, perfect. Just what I need to try and get this woman into my tent. Fantastic.
We carried on throughout in Northumberland and we just ditched the second tent.
Oh, that's brilliant. Brilliant story. Well, I hate camping. I know that Chris, who's on our switchboard tonight, he's just as red as a berry at the moment because he went camping, and even though he says, well, it wasn't sunny at all, well, it doesn't have to be for you to get a bit of a suntan. What do you like about camping? I've done it a couple of times, and I've honestly hated it. each and every time?
Absolutely nothing now. I hate it now. I mean, we've got a little caravan now, a little two-bed.
That's better. Yeah.
Fairly dirty, but I love it.
Yeah, better, much better.
Would set me into a tent now. It was just sort of like students who were skint. You could stick them in the back of the Mini and just go somewhere cheap. But I don't like slumming it now.
Have you ever heard of a thing called a stag beetle?
Yes, I have.
Now a stag beetle, for those that, because it's a species that we find in Britain all over the place, although we don't see them that often. To be honest, I had never seen a stag beetle at this point. And I went camping and I was in the North Riding of Yorkshire in a thing called a pup tent, which means you can't get anybody else in there. It's just it's like for one person, and it's like being in the womb. Yeah, it's so tight. It's a nasty damn thing. And I was in this tent and I'd eaten a finger of my entire supper that night was a finger of fudge. And I knew for a fact that about an inch of it had snapped off and I couldn't find where it went. Now I'm lying in the bed and round about where my feet were, I felt this thing. And I went, that's the fudge. But I was zipped right up to my neck, you see. So I thought, I'm not going to go fidgeting all the way down there. In the morning, it'll be a bit of a mess, but I'll get it out then, not worry about it. And I spent the entire night, when you turn over, you kick the bit of fudge a bit further, and then you kick it again, and you kick it again, then you kick it again. And you already know where I'm going with this. When I woke up, the bit of fudge was right next to my head. And I'm going, have I managed to kick that all the way from the bottom, right the way up to the top? What a fidgety night I must have had. Then, of course, you open the zip, and there was this huge dead, kicked to bits stag beetle that had been, oh no, you don't want that. First of all, you don't know what they do with them nippers. You know, they could have got hold of anything. And I was only sleeping in me tangers. Do you remember tangers? Whoa, I bet your lad wore tangers when he was in that tent. They're the underwear that doesn't look remotely like boxers. Y fronts. They look closer to something that Tarzan would wear. Tangers. That's what you would wear back then. Camouflage looking tangers. Horrific. Horrific and not remotely sexy. But it could have got into me tangers. Ooh, that would have been a scary thing. Anyway, lovely stuff, Glynis. Thank you very much. Holy Island story. That's a bonus tonight, so thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks, love. You take care. Bye-bye. Glynis. And she ended up marrying him, you see. These things do work out. Have you, now this is for men and women, have you used your wicked wiles or strange, subtle subterfuge to get your partner in the sack with you? Oof, there's a question. That opens a few more doors. I was tempted to say hand legs, but okay. 0191 488 3188. Tell me your stories. Have you used a little bit of tactical playing to get somebody in the warm and comfy with you? 0191 488 3188. Let's head off to Washington, where we find Sue. Hi, Sue.
Hello, Alan.
Hello. Now, I'm not even going to mention anything that was in your email that you sent me before we went on, because last week you told me about this woman that you were starting to be waving chums with.
Yeah.
And this is an update on waving chums, isn't it?
Yeah. We saw her a few days ago, and I think it was on Wednesday, and I just walked on a grass and shooting the window, and I asked her if she had anyone looking after her, and she said, I've got my daughter. I said, well, I didn't say it to her, but I thought that's a relief to know that she's got someone. And I said, well, look, even though, I said, look, here's my telephone number, here's my landline number, here's my mobile. If you need anything, we come round like every day, apart from if it's raining. And I said, so if you need anything, just let us know and we can pick it up on the way for you. I don't mind doing that. Oh, she went, that's very kind. She was really grateful, bless her. And then on the Thursday morning, we went round and I waved again, and I gave her like a scissors, like with my fingers, saying I'm getting my hair cut.
Right.
this afternoon.
Uh-huh.
So she phoned up, and I said, see you tomorrow, and off I went. And then Friday we see her again, and she's going, oh, you like your hair? That's really nice. And I thought that was so lovely.
Yeah.
And but we went round yesterday, but we couldn't get round today because we've been busy.
Right.
And I just hope she's all right, and I hope she doesn't worry about us, you know.
I just think it's given her something else in her life. She's got people in her life that give a damn, and you know that does mean an awful lot when you spend most of your days completely on your own.
Yeah. I mean, we're on our travels tomorrow, and it's the same thing for my mum. I know my sister's not well, obviously. My brother's at work, and even though she's got them down south, she's still like in the house with the dog and the bird. Yeah. But they keep her going, and the bird is funny. Oh my God! I'll have to tell you about the bird, right?
Go on,
it's a canary, and he flies out of the. And when we're on screen too, you can see him flying. But he's now he lands near the telly, and he'll sit and wait till my mum puts the telly on, and then when the telly's on, he's running up and down watching the telly, back and forth. And the other day, she polished. And he flew to land on it, but he skidded because it was polished and he had to fly off again. So it was really funny. Yeah, so I said, I can't wait to get down, and I'm going to do a video of him.
Right, that's
that would
lovely.
be hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyway, this other story happened. It's quite serious, actually. It's pretty horrific. I wouldn't have liked to have seen it. And it was down in Norfolk, and my aunt has a man come to do her garden on a Wednesday.
Right.
Well, last Wednesday he didn't turn up, and then she found out why. Well, he'd been busy doing people's, and they don't have electric mowers, do they? They have petrol mowers and petrol hedge trimmers and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
So it was really, really hot, and he'd been doing these jobs, gardens, hedges, and that was his last job. And outside their house, how they must have felt, I do not know. And he'd finished up, and he put his gear back in his van, got in the van, turned the engine on, and it blew up. The heat had literally, I don't know what it did to the petrol, but it just blew the whole van up, and he died.
What? That's, whoa.
I was like, whoa, man, my God. You know, that's something that you'd like see in films, isn't it? Not like on your doorstep.
Yeah, but you see it in films when people's planted a bomb there, not when it's just a hot day and his petrol's gone up. I mean, that should terrify anybody that uses petrol.
Apparently that's what they said it was. It was petrol, and now I don't know how true it is, but someone said that's why you never fill, when it's really hot, you never fill your car right to the top with petrol.
I always fill my car right. I'm the one that's going, a penny, a tuppence. I'm that guy. I'm that every day, every time not every day, every time you've got to fill up, that's how I do it. Oh, dear me. I'm at risk.
You'd never think though, would you?
Not at all.
You'd never think it's something that you see in films. So God knows how they're feeling when, you know, it's just
dear me. What a shame.
done their garden and then got in the car and blew up outside the house. Oh, my God.
Awful.
So,
awful.
Yeah, it'll probably be in the local paper when we go down.
I'm sure. Wow, what a tale. Anything else then, Sue?
No, that's it, Alan. That's just a quick one because I want to get my head down. I'll listen to you for a bit until I've dropped off, and then because we're on a travels tomorrow, you know.
Right, well, you have a great, safe journey. Thank you for coming on.
I'll keep this updated about my sister because I'm hoping to see her.
Fingers crossed. Give her middle love. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Now, Ray Jackson from Lindisfarne was the guy who played mandolin on Maggie May. And we've been talking to him about, well, stuff. You must have had a bigger draw for the mandolin then.
Well, that's a story which happened a bit later. It was my first ever time I was left on my own. Because my parents wanted to take me away to Italy with them, and I didn't want to go because I was at that teenage era where, you know, I don't want to go with my parents again, you know, they'd cramp me style kind of thing. So they left me with lots of tins of soup, and they came back to lots of washing up, but they said, well, what would you, what would you like instead of us taking you away on holiday? What would you like? And I said, well, I would like a mandolin. Oh, really? Would you? Yeah, because Italy's famous for mandolins. So
Right.
they dutifully brought me back one, a Miazzi Jazz, one of those bowl back ones. That,
Right.
Of course, I never had a tutor or anything. I just sort of picked it up myself.
Amazing. Because you became the mandolin player, didn't you, after the success of Maggie May and that album?
Well, I don't know about the mandolin player, but I was one of the few people who played it at the time.
Mm.
When Lindisfarne became reasonably famous, we used to do a lot of gigs in London. We were at the Marquee Club one Sunday. It was a special that Tony Stratton-Smith used to put on.
Mm.
And who should be in the audience but Long John Baldry. And he was after a mandolin player to play on his It Ain't Easy album, which has just been re-released. Rod Stewart was producing one side, Elton John was producing the other side. Rod Stewart was just about to do Every Picture Tells a Story album and thought of me to play the mandolin on Mandolin Wind and consequently on Maggie May as well.
Lips off, taking your nose away, taking your eyelids so you could not avoid the rays of the sun. And when all that was done, they would throw salt on you so you died of toxic shock. That's what they did. Then they got, there's a depiction of one of these in the dungeons at York, should you go. They then get all of the skin that they've cut off you, they fold it up into a book and they nail it to the church door as a warning to the other priests not to rip off poor people, which, hey, cannot really argue too much with that, but I think it's a fairly extreme way of showing it. But the sun's going down. This is going to be great tonight because we've got a little bit of everything for you. But let's start here. And I know that we are aiming in about 10 to 15 minutes to have a chat with someone from the Manor House Hotel, it's that pub just here, and hopefully we'll be able to get into the haunted room. But more importantly, we'll have the perfect view of the ruins where the ghost children are said to run. And it's fascinating to think that the ghost children, according to myth and legend, look at the red skies over here.
Amazing, isn't it?
Don't know whether you can see
Place
these
is
red skies
amazing.
over here. It's almost like this.
Who
there's
needs to go abroad when you've got views and stuff like this?
Does look like there's
Doesn't it?
red fire at night, Shepherd's Delight, or his house is on fire, one or the other. But magnificent views.
I thought it was Red Sky Night Shepherd's Pie.
No, Shepherd's Delight. Well, that might be a Shepherd's Delight, I suppose you could argue. But they say that the ghost children are the children that ran away because the Vikings were slavers. One of their things that they did do was slavery. And oh, hang on. No, you're on the right track, Kenny.
There.
Yeah. No, the children are said because the Vikings would kill anybody that they thought could potentially be in opposition to them, but they would also enslave the women and enslave the children because they could grow the children up to be Vikings or their slaves or sell them to other people. Keep your eyes open, everybody at home, because this is tantalizing. No, absolutely. Screenshot. If you do see anything, please screenshot it. We've already seen bats here, swooping swallows, kestrels hovering, and it's here. This is where they see. Listen.
You hear that noise? What was that?
Did you hear? Like a calling?
Yeah.
And you know, they say that the thing, I hope people at home are picking that up. There was, you stop talking and hope for it to happen again. But come on. I know this is, if it gets claggy, I'll tell you. Come on over here. Let's this is where the kids are. So, ow, I do tell you there's nettles, thistles. Yeah, up here.
You got nettled.
Absolutely.
One red flower there, look. Is that a flower?
It's a poppy.
Is that a poppy?
Yeah, beautiful. Just these ghost children are supposed to be the children that managed to escape from the Vikings. Now, obviously, escape you can view in different ways. The way that we think about it is we say they escaped the Vikings by being killed. They would rather die by attacking a Viking. These are small children than fall victim and become part of their slave trade, because it's either something immediate or it's the slow lingering death of being used and misused by whoever the Vikings sell you to. Kenny, look over there, right in the centre.
Right in the middle.
See where mine is?
Yeah.
Go to it, go to it.
There.
Yeah, slightly left, that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
You see the black figure?
Yeah, just there.
Listen. I think it's a dog.
That was a dog.
It's
That was a dog.
It's a dog. I'm still getting that figure there, though.
It's still there.
Can you see it, Tony? You're making it out.
And there was some movement just here.
Oh, you're not on mic? Well, there's a figure over yonder. And Kenny said that there was some movement over here.
Just there. It was just
I didn't
there.
see the movement, but I did see the thistle you're right beside, so be careful. Blimey, it's tempting to
go over the fence.
Well, no, not really, just to go into, but this is super deep.
I bet Harrison Ford hasn't got to put up with these nettles.
Look at this.
Oh,
can you see this?
You want to go in, don't you?
Absolutely. Well, I know we can get to the graveyard at the opposite side.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what we shall do. Let's get back to a path, or let's create our own path. We need a machete. That's a piece of kit we could do with. Let's get back to this. Like, ow! That was a nettle. This'll do. This'll do.
Oh my
I'm
God!
sorry. Right, okay.
Thought my jokes were bad.
I know. Sorry, mate. I was just trying to drop to your level so that you could appreciate it. But no, this is the area here where, if you can see, that's the hotel there, and they overlook part of the cemetery and this area. And they say that people are sitting having their lunch, and they'll say things like, "Can you see? Did you see those kids running around?" And they're saying, "There's no kids down there," but they see them quite clearly too.
Keep hearing voices, mind.
I heard howling at the coast, and you heard it too.
Yeah.
So we're going back down to the coast a little bit later on, because we're heading right the way around to the castle, and we've got loads of Viking tales to be told. Let's go and view it from the way that people see it. I think you can get in through this bottom door. Ice cream sold here. Oh, that's a different show. We'll have to do a cookery show at some point. Here we go. Badoom. And this is the area that we're talking about. So it's down here. It's across this area. And of course, it's over here in front of, but the further you go down, the more moody it gets, and it's still reasonably light. But this is one of the areas. See, that's the restaurant that's apparently got issues. And there is the silhouette of.
It is Hits Radio.
That's what it is, and we would love you to give us a call about the times that other people, or maybe your own children, your parents, have shown you up big style. We have all been shown up many, many times, and I want you to tell me when you were shown up. Oh, it's awful. I've had some awful, just serious knocks by people that you've really liked that have just totally let you down and burst your bubble and sank your ships and all that kind of stuff. Tell me yours and we'll tell you ours. 0191 488 3188. We want your camping experiences as well. It seems a lot of you have done the whole camping thing.
I was camping when I was about 13 and with my family and stuff in Poland. We were camping in tents. Me and my cousin had one side of the tent. And she kept telling me all these horror stories because she was a scout member. So she kept, brownies.
Yeah.
So she kept telling me, oh, you know, when we go in the forest, then there's all these things that crawl all over your camp bed. You have to check all your pillows every night you go to bed. And I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever. It's middle of the night, I felt something crawling in my ear.
Oh.
And I thought, oh, no, it's just like my hair, you know, just you shrug it off. Next morning, I woke up and I felt like, you know, when you get water inside your ear and you have that kind of thing that you can't shake out. Yeah. So obviously I complained about it. My auntie got worried thinking that I'd got one of those earworms going down kind of thing. Yeah, it was a centipede that had crawled into my ear.
Lug, that's awful.
Got a bit stuck in there, so I actually had to go to hospital. Who then, it was the most disgusting experience of my life. They had to like slowly pull it out. And you know when you don't want to look, but you just have to because I don't know what possessed me. I still have the image now of it being pulled out.
Was it one of those big golden ones?
It wasn't that big, thankfully. It was quite a reddish pink, and I think it must have been a little baby because it wasn't huge yet, thankfully. But she said because it just looked for somewhere dark and quite contained to hide itself, my ear was the perfect place.
I was going to say, it's a good job it was up that end.
Better that end than any other. But you know what? At least I cleaned my ears out properly now to make sure there's nothing else that's crawling in there at any given point.
You just don't, just the thought of that whole thing is just...
something in your ears.
Oh, you don't want that. But what's your camping story? Because usually one person snores. Did anybody snore?
Ellie. Ellie! No!
Ellie's the snorer.
No! Right, let me say something, right? Do you know... Right, me and Sophia and Grace, right?
Yeah.
We were like sitting talking, and Ellie fell asleep, right? And she was actually snoring, but like, no, she's on me. We were going, no, you were. Honestly, Ellie, you were.
So what's your camping story?
We happened to set with tent up, and these bikers, like proper bikers, Harley Davidson guys, set their tent up a couple of feet away from ours. And, you know, you've had a good skinful in that 2-3 o'clock in the morning, you're like, oh, I just want to go on the kip. Like, so we get in the tent, and this guy who's just on his bike, riving it for a good half hour, 40 minutes. And it's like 2 foot away from the back of my tent, you know what I mean? And we couldn't get a kip. A bit later, he stopped, and he must have went, oh, I'm going to kip myself.
Right.
So, I'm gonna have him. So what you done was...
Let's pick on the Hells Angel.
Exactly, you know what I mean? And I'm not exactly a big lad myself, you know. So what you done was, she went in a little hold all, pulled out these little pair of knickers, just happened to have some Nutella with her, and she smeared a bit Nutella on these knickers and hung them on his wing mirror of his bike. And the same morning, about 9ish, 9:10, 9:30 in the morning, all you could hear was, who the beating bap, put these knickers on my bike. I didn't come up with tent hat myself. You know what I mean? It's like,
Brilliant. So, tell me your camping stories. Everybody's got a camping story. Everybody. So, come on. Out with yours. And we are 20 minutes away from clue number 2. So, get ready. Oh, speaking of camping stories, hang on. Russ from Washington's got one. Hiya, Russ.
Hiya, Alan. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. Thank you very much for calling in with yours. What's your story, then?
Oh, it's always a pleasure, mate. Alan, can I first give an apology, please? Because last week I was there. A couple of mountains over the hill, I think. You couldn't be sure, but...
That's all right. Hey, it's the time of year for it. Don't you worry.
Right, I've got 3 or 4 things I want to talk about. Okay. First one, the little camping story.
Okay.
I remember it well. I was just a nipper camping in the Lake District.
Yeah.
Braithwaite, I don't know if you know it.
Yes, know it, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scott's Gate campsite, actually.
Right.
And we had this massive tent, a family tent, because there was 5
right.
5 babysitters, like 6 people. I used to keep in the tent.
Right.
And the pegs were made by my dad, because he was a fitter in the co-op.
All right.
And he made these proper pegs, like, just in case of a couple of winds coming up.
Right.
And this particular good idea that he had these beds because there was a hurricane.
Rough, blimey.
One massive storm. And all I can remember at the time, when I woke up in the morning, the campsite, apart from our tent, was disordered. The whole lot were just blown away.
Blown away, right.
And it was pretty horrific, like, you know.
Yeah.
You're talking about 1972, I would think, 1973.
Blimey, right.
And horrific. It was quite scary.
Yeah.
We used to go to the lakes 2-3 times a year.
Yeah, lovely.
And this was the first time I experienced weather.
Yeah.
Yeah. Horrible.
It's just, what do you do? Because you can't go out, and when you're inside, all you're hearing is roaring, you know. It's terrifying. Yeah, funny stuff.
Did you cut yourself out?
I did a little bit when I was much younger. I didn't enjoy it then, and I've only done it once as an adult, and I vowed I'd never do it again. No, it's not my thing at all, man.
Yeah. It's not mine now because I'm not as agile as what I was.
Right.
I've got an unrelated ghost story about Holy Island.
Okay, go for it.
I was caught in this bunny lass, and I thought, we'll have a run up the Holy Island.
Mm-hmm.
And I had me customised Mark IV carts in there, you know.
Very good.
So we're going up the A1, and I get to the causeway, and the signs were a time zone. You couldn't read them, you know. It was like unclear of what was going on. So I thought, right, there's a little pork and beer just next to the causeway.
That's right.
I thought, stick the car in there and we'll just slug it over the causeway.
Right.
What happened? I was petrified.
No, bad.
Fortunately, this four-wheel drive guy starts hoofing it across the causeway from the island.
Right.
He says, if I wasn't leaving this island, you two would have been killed. You get in, I'll take you back to the hotel on the A1, you know, just at the top of the Africa.
So did you have to leave your car?
Aye.
On the island, though, on the dry bit?
Well, just off the causeway, which does, I suppose it would get flooded, but fortunately, when I returned the next morning, the car was all right.
Oh, wow.
What had happened, must have been some water getting in because my wheel bearings had gone. It was undrivable.
Right.
So whatever happened, I have no idea. And it did change position, so I'm sure the water came up that high, you know?
Yeah.
Very, very, very scary.
It's terrifying. I've been on the... What it says at both ends, if there's water on the causeway, don't, turn here, don't drive it. I was actually physically a third of the way onto the causeway from England towards the island when the water started to come over, and I thought I could have a crack at it, or I thought, or I could try. But you see, once you try to do a 3-point turn, remembering that the road's underwater, so you can't see where the road ends, and you fall off into the sand. Oh, that was the tightest 3-point turn I think I've ever done. And then when you drive back, you've got that shower from both wheels, going at the side, and your heart's thumping like jungle drums. Oh my goodness! No, it's not a funny. It's not a thing to be taken lightly, though. That whole thing. No.
I think they want to put that board, telling the crossings when you can.
Sure. No, I agree. Absolutely. So, what else then?
Right, question for you.
Okay.
I notice you've got a lot of finger jewellery going on there.
Yeah.
Is there a story behind it? Is there something about it? Because there's a lot of...
Yeah, well, one of them's a wedding ring, which kind of goes with it. There's a few things. I did a gig years ago for a group of Hells Angels in Cumbria, and it was for all the Hells Angels in Britain, and they gave me a ring. Hang on, let me just wave it at you. It's not like worth trillions or anything, but they gave me a Harley Davidson ring, and it actually says across the side HB. I don't know whether you can make out an HB or HD rather, Harley Davidson. So they gave me as a thank you for all the daft stuff that we did together. They presented me with that, and I just didn't wear it for years. And I used to, when I was a kid, I wore a lot of this daft stuff, you know, and I did it out because I loved it. I loved the look. I loved the feel. And it was my wife who said, look, you've got all this stuff. Why don't you just start wearing it? And I've started wearing it and actually quite like it. If I'm doing the garden or if I'm at home writing or something, I'm not decked out. But if I'm going anywhere where you're going to be seen, I'm a bit metallic these days. It is a fact. Most of them have got a story. I've got a little Buddha one. That is my place of peace. I don't know if you can see Buddha praying on the end there. There you go. And the skull is every time I do a bad thing. It helps me remember what bad stuff I've done to stop me doing it again. I've got a Celtic ring. I blame me. There's a little story about all of them. I got a ring that I got given by. I'm an ambassador for a place called Hell in Norway, and they gave me a ring with Viking runes thereupon, and didn't wear that for years. So dug that out to wear with the rest. So yeah, there's a tale to be told. Usually it's stuff that I'm given rather than I go out looking for, if you know what I mean. So I don't know. Are you a jewellery guy? Have you got stuff around your neck, or have you got?
I used to.
Yeah.
I used to.
What stopped you then?
I got an allergic. What's the word? Allergic reaction.
Oh, blimey.
And I used to itch like hell. You know.
Right. Oh, that's no good. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I've got 2 designer watches, and I can't wear them. They stop.
Cheaper.
You know, one's a Tiger, and the other one's at the beginning of the day. Cost a lot of money.
Right. Yeah.
It's getting, you know, I can wear them, and after an hour or so, they just stop.
That's not worth it, though, man. No,
yeah, and I can't sell them off because they won't take them because I don't have the box up. You know?
Yeah.
You can't sell designer watches without the boxes at
Crazy.
But never mind, they stuck them in the drawer there. I mean, his son can have them when he's old enough for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, hey, what a shame, though. What a shame. Hey. Yeah, and anything else then while you're on, Russ?
One thing, just your opinion. Sure. It's only a week away, week and a year. 25th of June.
Yes.
Do you think the lockdown will be released, or is it going to see
You've obviously just missed the news. What they've said is that they're putting it off for another 4 weeks.
There you go.
And
I missed the news.
Yeah, just on the news, literally a few minutes ago, they were saying that they're going to put it off. They haven't announced it officially, and they'll do that in the morning, but it looks like it's being postponed for 4 weeks because of the various spikes that they've had. Now, to me, are they right to do it? It's each individual's opinion. To me, they've had 8 deaths, which is terrible. But the average amount of deaths that you would have at this year of things like pneumonia and flu are in the 30s and 40s. And we would never close the country down for 30 or 40 deaths out of the millions of people who live here. There's 8 deaths for COVID. So 8 deaths during the time that they've had a test saying they're positive for COVID. So, because that changes the figures even more. So I don't know whether they're right. I don't know whether they're wrong. They're erring on the side of caution. And to be honest, I think it's felt like COVID was over for the past 2 to 3 weeks, you know, judging by how people have been behaving, because people have been behaving like, well, we're back to normal now. You know, going to pubs and eating in restaurants and all that kind of thing. So do you think they're right to do it? Where do you stand on it then, Russ?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I think the date that the first had, the 25th of June, I thought it was a little bit too early.
Right.
Why not wait till the beginning of the summer holidays for the kids, you know?
Yeah.
And which is about 4 or 5 weeks later. And that's what they're doing now.
Right, now there you go. You were right all along. Good talking to you, Russ. Thanks again, man.
You too, Al.
Thanks, mate. Bye-bye. It's good getting everybody out having a bit crack. Let's share and share alike because we got a lot of stuff going on. Now, I think we're going to take a little piece of music now because we have another star coming out at night. And this time, it's Mark from Level 42. Now, what a band they are. We're going to play one of their best bits of music too. It's my all-time favourite Level 42 tune. You'll hear it in a sec. It is their greatest hit, in my opinion. I asked them about his best and worst moments in the Bizzo. You must have had a lot of great times, and you've had a few tough times too.
Yeah, well, worst moment undoubtedly would be the death of Al Murphy in 1989. He died on the 19th of October, and 10 days before he died of an age-related illness. Actually, he died of pneumonia. We had no idea that the guy was ill. You know, we've been on the road for the last 18 months, and we'd done an album. It was fantastic, and I really thought that as the lineup had changed, this was going to be, everything was great again because Gary Husband had come in. He was Al Murphy was a wonderful guitar player, great fun to be with. And then we were recording the video for "Take Care of Yourself," and he just didn't show up. And then I got a phone call, and he said, "Look," he said, "I don't feel well. He said, "You know me, I'm a right old trooper." He said, "So I can't be in for this." And I suppose one of the ironies of this particular period was that the song was called "Take Care of Yourself," and I'm sort of and I sing about AIDS in there at one point because this was this thing that was looming and coming up.
It was the time of the iceberg advert.
It
wasn't
was,
it?
yeah, and it was also this was the end of the 80s, and Margaret Thatcher had been in power, and the whole idea of "take care of yourselves" was, it was just all about looking after number one, and it wasn't really a cool thing. But because Al wasn't in, there was one of the guys from the record company kind of stood in for him because we were sort of dressing up in all these different outfits and bits and pieces. And one of the things that we had scripted for Alan to be was one of the lines was, the old man shuts his eyes and leaves behind another life. And so this guy who was playing Alan is in a hospital bed and he dies, and then he goes off, and we put these wings on him, and the guy just died. And 10 days later, that's exactly what happened, And it was.
Did he ever say to you, "By the way, I'm HIV"?
No, he never said a thing about it, and that. For me, I know that some people have said, "Well, surely you should let people know if you." But no, not.
It's personal business.
It is entirely personal business, and that was entirely Al's thing, and I didn't have a problem with it at all.
What a shock! Though.
It just came as a massive shock to all of us, when the guy went, and you can't help but look back on those times and think, well, because I look at pictures and it's obvious the guy's not well now. At the time, I just didn't see it, and I think I've been like that too often in my life. I've been so sort of self-obsessed and
easy to get there. I mean,
well, you should, there's sometimes you really have to just sort of pull your head out the sand and look around and realise that you're not the only person on the planet. Anyway, that was
what's your best thing? Come on.
Best thing, well, it's got to be the birth of the kids, really, because they're, everything changes after that. It's just
it's there. Bloody messy, nasty, though, isn't it? That whole thing?
No, it's not. It's fantastic. No,
they always look like a pizza when they come in. You got to.
I love pizza.
So you were in, I presume, seeing the children born.
I was there for the last two. My first daughter, Florrie, she was born when I was on stage at Leeds University, and I got the message. They went, "It's a girl," and I thought it was great. So
did you announce it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I said I'm a dad of a girl, and of course all the Leeds students went, "Yeah." My granddad, chill out. I was 23.
Group, we've already shown them a closer look at St. Aidan. And again, the interesting thing, and I know you can't see it because we're kind of sideways on, but he's standing in front of a cross that's not just a cross. The Christians were desperate to transform the majority of people who lived in this area, who were pagans, to become Christians. So they put a circle around the cross. So you'd have a cross with a circle on the top, and the circle is the symbol, not wanting to be too Lion King about it, but that is the circle of life. And that's what pagans believe in, the circle of life. The sun will come up and warm you. The moon will control the tides, especially here. But this is where they say, from that window there, that's the window over yonder where they see spirit. And this is the area where they see it. Around the graveyard, the priory, the old walls. You're just waiting for something to happen here, aren't you?
You're waiting for it, dead trepidation, but then you keep hearing little noises and voices. There?
Did you hear the whisper?
Yeah.
Like there's a whisper. Just came from over this way. Beautiful trees. I'm a lover of all things natural. And of course, in the distance, the castle sticking out. The castle they used in Roman Polanski's Macbeth. Whoa, bats.
Bats, yeah.
There's bats here.
Right.
Did you see it?
I didn't see that one. Yeah, I just saw that one though.
There's bats here. Bats in your belfry.
Did you hear that?
I don't know.
There's a knock there just next to her. Right next to us.
Right next to us. There's another one just coming over here.
Seems to be up here.
Just here.
All the supporters were saying hi and evening and hello and stuff before as well too. So
hello everybody and
everyone.
thank you.
No
we
worries.
wish we could say hi to each and every one of you, but as it stands, there you can't make out that cross. I'll show you that cross in a bit greater detail real soon. Now, we did say that we were going to try and get into that restaurant. I don't know whether.
Do you think?
I don't know. I mean, they did say that we could. If not, let's go around to the cemetery.
I think we should hit the cemetery.
They will turn the lights off for us.
Right, let's do it then. Can you go ahead and make sure that they're out and then we'll come in? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the Manor House Hotel. And they say that it's one of those things that if you came here and you wanted to have your fish and chips or a drink, we had a lovely cup of tea in there a little bit earlier on and a cold drink. And lovely place to go. And yet this room at the far side is one that during the day too, it doesn't have to be late at night.
Tables, yeah.
And on these tables, because you're overlooking the same kind of thing. And I'm going to teach you some Viking words. But did you know that the Vikings created curling? What they used to do was they'd go to a frozen lake and they'd take a big, heavy piece of stone and they would try and slide it as far as they could. And then another Viking would have a go. And ultimately, that became curling. Do you know the Haladuik was their version of hockey? They created hockey. They played with a ball and sticks. Hockey they created. Tossing the caber, throwing trees. And of course, the Scots picked that up. Half the Highland Games were things chucking a stone as high as they possibly can. Throwing knives. Half the Highland Games came from the Vikings. And the lights are going down. We're going to be heading in. So, I don't know, do we go through the bar or do we cut through this little one here if we can? It says no entry, but we're really important. And it's locked, so we're that important. Let's cut through. We know that there's people in the bar. We just got to dive through and say out. Oh, hang on, we're going to have to mask up just briefly. Hopefully it'll be worth it. Mask up, Kenny. Yes, he has. On the way out. Right. Yeah. Let's just get in.
We're back.
Sorry about that. We came through a very tight area, but we're now in the restaurant that is haunted. So, Kenny, if you stay to that seat over there at the window, and I'll stay at this one. I think what we should do now is maybe have a go. Take your mask off if you're at a table, Kenny, so just be careful. I'm hearing noises here too. But let's see what we get. The great news is we're far enough away from the main bar. I'm not hearing any noise from there. So, don't we get to share this? And a badge could be yours. Share, share, share. The more you share, the better chance you get. Right. Right, let's see what's here. Now, across here, of course, light them up, Kenny. Yeah.
Yep.
Any children there? I wish you could see this, Tony. Look out of this window.
I'm scared that it might go.
Give it a try. Just look. Because it does look like there's mystical little stuff moving about. Don't know whether you're making it out. There's that circular cross that we were telling you about. And there, of course, is the silhouette that's in the end. Speak to me. Talk to me. Is there anyone here? Silent. Is there anyone here? They were kids. Oh, Kenny, top left. Far left. Far left. Yeah, there. Little bit, slightly right. Yeah, just like there's somebody or something just moved past the corner there. What the hell is that? I can understand why people say they see things. Yeah, there's definitely stuff happening here. Do it. Do it. Come in. Sit. You just have to get near the marmalade.
You can just imagine children like skipping across there.
The child's just said, do you see him? They're kids. They're kids playing. Come on, where are you then? Come out. Come out.
There's definitely feeling that there's something there.
Well, I think I saw something just down the
I
bottom
thought
there.
I saw something just move just slightly there.
Yeah.
You know that Ring of Roses thing? Was that when they all died kind of thing?
That was supposedly based on the plague, but
yeah,
I know some people disagree, but that's where it came from. Fairly confident. Oh, look at that. Are you seeing anything on the screen, Tony? Come on, speak to me. Speak to me. Speak. There, right.
Qualification, but you can get a bit of a glow of the win and a bit soft and a bit puddingy when you poke your finger in the belly. And we've got to make sure that we're ready for what is going to be an incredible game against Scotland.
Denmark's team doctor says Christian Eriksen suffered a cardiac arrest when he collapsed during yesterday's Euro 2020 fixture against Finland. The Danish midfielder is still recovering in hospital. And Saracens have taken a huge step to returning to Rugby Union's Premiership after thrashing Ealing in the first leg of their Championship playoff final. They won 60 points to 0. From Sky News, I'm Michael Worrell.
Thank you, Michael. And do not forget Greatest Hits Radio. Whole batch of stars for you. Greatest Hits at breakfast with Rossi. Then we got Mark Goodyear with his top 10 at 10. Then across the afternoon, Simon Mayo's Drive Time Show. The biggest songs of the 70s, 80s, 90s. If that's your thing, you want to be hooked up. And of course, Darren Proctor and Andy Crane to see the day and the evening out. So if that's your bag, make sure you get yourself locked in. And also Martin Kemp, of course, is continuing with episode 2 of Cities of Sound, London Calling. A look at the musical heritage of the nation's capital, from the swinging London to the blues explosion, new romantics, punk, glam rock. It's all there for you with Martin Kemp. So Cities of Sound, London Calling. Don't miss it. Right, we have a second clue for you in our competition too. 4 clues, 4 answers. The answers all have something in common. Clue number 1. Iron Maiden had a greatest hit featuring 666. What was the name of the hit? Write that down. The second clue. A Dean Friedman greatest hit. Yeah. A Dean Friedman greatest hit. What could that possibly be? Wonder how many of you are going to have to Google that to work out what it is. Maybe he's put down these 2 or 3 hits just to see which one it was. A Dean Friedman greatest hit. 2 clues down, 2 more clues to come, and let us talk to you lot. We have Grant, who's in Bladen. Hello, Grant.
Hiya, mate. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. Thank you for calling. What can we do for you?
Hiya there, mate. I'm just ringing up to see if I can get a bit of support off you, really. But I'll explain a bit about my background. Basically, I was brought up as a kid. At the age of about 2, my mum took us back and forth to the hospital for years. Right. They eventually scanned us, found out I had a brain tumour.
Oh,
I've seen dietitians, psychologists all my life, etc.
Right.
I've been in the special schools. I've been bullied because I've been overweight. I haven't had a day in my life without a headache. I started puberty at the age of 5, so I've been shaving since the age of 6.
Give over what?
Yeah, so obviously I haven't had a day in my life without a headache either. That's due to my tumour, but I had a gastric bypass in 2011 because with my tumour, I've never felt full in my life before, so I've got no restriction.
Right.
I was massively overweight then. When I had the bypass, I lost, I think it was just over 10 stone. I was living the dream. But anyway,
how's the tumour? Could they not take the tumour away?
They can't take it out because where it is, it's between the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland. So if they did take it out, the chances are I wouldn't make it.
Right.
But the side effects of the tumour are starting to show more now.
Right.
I've got a left side weakness, and my coordination's all done in. Yeah, so when I had the bypass in 2011, I lost all that weight. Honestly, it was amazing and stuff. And as the years went on, I've put more and more weight on, especially over the last 5 years. I'm now bigger than ever. It's come to the point now where I barely can even walk and stuff.
But hang on, the gastric bypass, is the gastric bypass out now?
No, the can't. That's the gastric band, and they can't take a bypass out.
So how can you eat more than? Because I always thought the gastric band was to make your stomach so small that you could only eat small amounts.
Well, it wasn't the band I had. It was the bypass where they staple your stomach.
Right. So how can you eat more then? Because that's the same principle, though, isn't it?
Yes, but there's a majority of people who has the bypass puts a lot of weight on over the years.
All right. I didn't know
that. But I'm a lot bigger than what I was before the first surgery.
Oh, blimey. Right.
About 5 months ago, I think it's with my heart and stuff, but I had a stroke and I'm only 29.
Right. Because your body's got a lot to carry around.
Yes. So I went back to my GP to see if I could get revision surgery
Right.
because there's a new operation out.
Right. What does that do?
Well, basically, it's redoing the bypass, but they put a special ring around your stomach,
Right.
so it prevents your stomach from stretching.
Okay.
But it's quite a low risk operation. But the I went to panel 3 months ago. My voice just keeps echoing. I went to panel about 3 months ago to try and get funding.
Yeah.
It got declined, so I went back to my GP. Like, I got more evidence because the operation I need isn't available on the NHS.
Right.
So I spoke to a surgeon, one of the local surgeons, and he says like it's not available on the NHS, and he recommended this doctor down London.
Right.
So I've had a couple of Zoom calls and that with the doctor. They've been brilliant.
But this would mean that you have to buy it as a private operation, which means you're going to need to build up a fair swag bag of cash. How much would it cost then if the NHS won't do it?
It's 13,000.
13 grand, right? Well, that's not the end of the world. I mean, that's doable. 13, you would think. How are you going to raise the money then?
I don't know. I've set up a GoFundMe page. I was just hoping that you maybe to get it out there a little bit for us.
Absolutely. So, what's the GoFundMe page under then?
Well, I've sent all my background. I've sent you the link on your Facebook page.
Yeah, Tony's just said that we've put it up online on screen already for you. So that's happening. It's in our chat section. So if anybody would like to help in any shape or form, and it's an awful predicament that you're in, have you spoken to local supermarkets so they can do like a bag pack for you? I talked to a few of the local schools who can generate some money for you.
I've tried to ring my local MPs. There's not much them can do. I've tried to ring around a few radio stations. I've got nowhere. To be honest, Alan, you're the first person, not the first person, you're the only person that's actually got back to us. Just anyway. with my tumor, I'm unable to work, and obviously my mobility is really, really bad.
No, but you see, on the telephone, what you should maybe be thinking of doing is ringing up a local school, like a headmaster or a headmistress, and say, this is my situation, I need your help. Is there any chance that you can? And if they let the kids do a bag pack one afternoon, and everybody, that they pack a bag for sticks some money in the kitty, that can make because we're talking 13 grand. Some bag packs have made 3, 4 and 5 grand at a time. Now, you only need a few of them, and you're pretty much there. So that's one thing. If schools won't help you, contact local scouts, local guides, local churches to get some help. Because trust me, nobody's going to do this unless you talk to them head on. And that's the reality. So local churches, and you don't have to go to the church. You don't even have to believe what they believe. You're just asking for their help. So that's what I would do to start with. Local cadets groups, can you help support me? And I don't know whether you've got any military family members, from parents, grandparents or whatever. But if
like I say, it just seems to be impossible to get that kind of money together. And I don't even think I'm going to make it till Christmas because I barely can even breathe. I've had ambulances out many times.
I hear you, but what you must not do is give up. And you see, as soon as you start to see a little bit of money coming in, that will be enough to say, oh, hang on, I can do this. And as I say, the bag packs, and I know one school that did a bag pack for a week. They were there every day, and this was during the holidays, and the holidays are coming up. And they asked for volunteers from the school, and they wanted to do it Monday to Friday at one of the big supermarkets. They did the bag pack Monday to Friday, and by the end of the week, they had something like £17,000. And that's just bag packing. This is not anything complicated. The other things you do, of course, is you ring the local pubs and bars, which are just starting to open
Yes,
up. And
I've already done that, yes.
Ask if you can put a tin on the bar and say this is what it's for. But as I say, the most you can do is get the publicity out as best you can. And I do appreciate that if you're a local station, and we are, you can do this. If you're not a local station, or if you're broadcasting from other parts of the country, like many do, then they're not interested at all, and they're not going to touch you. However, we're glad we could help on Greatest Hits. I
just feel like I'm getting nowhere, and I don't want to lose like my life and like leave my mum and my sister and stuff behind. You know what I mean?
Well, you're not going to. But what you are going to do is you're going to start to be a bit cleverer, and that means make a list of who you're going to hit. Local schools, local churches, all of the big universities, local colleges, and you ask to speak to somebody that might be able to help you. And each college has somebody that deals with charitable bits and pieces. So make sure you get the right person, and you drop it in their lap, and you say, without you, I may not be here at Christmas, and I would love it if you could give us a little bit of help. And you're just being honest with these people. But it's going to take you to drive it, because if you get somebody else to do it, it's like, well, this guy wants it so bad, but he's not prepared to do it himself. Do you know what I mean?
It's down to me at the end of the day.
100%. And if you can't get out and about, and you obviously can't, you're going to have to do it on a telephone, which is harder. But just be genuine with people, and people will respond. I mean, you ask for help with us. We're always going to be here, and let us know in a couple of weeks how you get on. But make sure that you make some headway between now and then, because you've got it's a lot of calls, it's a lot of different people, and you're not going to get them.
I have rang around a lot of bars and stuff like.
Yeah, but you want schools, college, you want places where there's a lot of people. Because let's say if they're going to ask for volunteers, if there's only 4 of them there in a bar, well, okay, they might stick a jar on the bar, fingers crossed, and you'll either get something or you'll not. A lot of pubs already have charities that they support. Well, we do Gay Dogs for the Blind. They're all good causes. So you've got to be honest with them and say, without your help, I'm not going to be here by Christmas. And, oh, blimey. And if that's somebody that lived near me and it was my pub or bar or restaurant, I'd want to do something about that. But hit the people where there's large numbers. Guides, scouts, cadets, schools, colleges. They're the kind of places where you want their help. Could you do a bag pack for me? We need to raise this amount of money as soon as possible. And yes, it's a fortune, especially now, because nobody's got any money at the minute. But
I mean, I only found out it got rejected off panel again last week.
So now's the time to act. Don't stop. Don't let the grass grow under your feet. Crack on. Fight on. All right?
Thank you very much, Alan. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. But keep in touch, all right?
Oh, thank you.
Keep in touch.
Cheers.
Hang on, but before you go, the GoFundMe page, how do people find it?
I've sent the link.
I know it's on the link, but for those people that aren't following the link, there'll be people sitting at home. Maybe if you tell us how to get to it, they can go to it as well. We don't just want to put it there. Get it out in the ether at the same time. So what's it under?
It's obviously the GoFundMe page.
Yes.
Then bear with us. I'll just go on with it.
Right. It's usually a name you would put.
Sorry, 2 seconds.
All right, no problem. Just handy that you have this to hand when you're talking to people as well. Lesson learned, man. No worries.
It's just got a link.
Is there a name with it?
Yeah, it's just my name, Grant Mothersdale.
Well, there you go. That's all we need. Grant Mothersdale. Mothersdale.
Mothersdale. Mothersdale.
Right, Mothersdale. Grant Mothersdale GoFundMe page. So check it out if you can. If you can help him in any way, please do. if you are someone in an organisation or you run a shop or a store and you're prepared to stick a can on your counter or do anything to help at all, please let us know. But more importantly, let Grant know. And it'll give him a bit more incentive to see it through. Good luck to you, Grant. Thanks for calling.
Thank you, mate. Take care
No
now.
worries. Bye-bye. Hey, take care, mate. It's Grant that needs the help. Hell's teeth. 0191 488 3188. Get your calls in. Sid is with us. He's in Morpeth. Hi, Sid. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Sid. What can we do for you, mate?
Hi, Alan. Are you okay?
I'm good, man. Thank you.
Yeah. So I got a phone call last week from Chris asking if I would like to share a little bit of a story with you guys.
Please.
Just in relation to a good friend of mine who's got a melanoma cancer.
Oh, hell's teeth. Right. Yeah. What's happened?
So about 3 years ago, she had like a little mole on her foot. She'd been using sunbeds quite a lot, and obviously got it checked. And really, the big thing is just to not promote sunbeds. Like Julie used to love getting the sunbeds. She loved getting a suntan.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, obviously she got this horrible cancer, and it's just spread rapidly so much. And a few months ago, or not long ago, she had the devastating news that she obviously hasn't got too long left.
Oh,
so,
no.
Yeah, I know it's like her husband and her sisters and that are listening in right now. But she put this bucket list together. So a lot of people have donated because there's some things in life that she wanted to do to enjoy her last summer, the summer of 21, to enjoy this one last summer. But so that's what this was all about.
Right.
So if anybody's listening and they want to go on to Julie Goring, it's JuliGoringin, Julie Goring.
Give me the surname again. G-O.
2 6.
Julie G-O. What's the surname?
Gorin.
Oh, Julie Gorin. Right. Julie Gorin. Get it. And it's another GoFundMe page, is it?
No, she's just got like a link on Facebook for donations. So she put a link on there.
Right. Julie Gorin, Facebook, right? Gotcha.
Yeah, just on Facebook, Alan. So she's done that.
So what's her
tick off some of these things on the bucket list that she had done.
So what are these bucket list things then?
Oh well, there's just loads. I mean, one of them was to do a skydive. One of them was to fly a plane. She's done the flying a plane one.
Wow, right.
Just to really, obviously the thing is, Alan, all these things in life cost money. Now, the Melanoma Me charity haven't got any money. They've got no funding because of all the COVID in that last year. They weren't able to put any charitable events on, so their funds are limited to low.
Absolutely.
So the thing is, I'm a personal trainer, right? And Julie used to train with me. She trained with me for a good 2 or 3 years, about 5-6 years ago. She wanted to lose a little bit of weight for her sister's wedding, and she just wanted to feel.
Oh, he's gone. She just wanted, obviously, to look after herself. And I've got a couple of friends who've had problems with melanomas, but it's just one of those things to keep an eye on. And for it to get to this type of serious situation. He's back on the line. I hope we can pick him up. We lost you briefly, Sid, but we're glad you're back. So,
yeah.
So you,
all right, Alan. Yeah. So I was saying, yeah, Julie, she wanted to lose a little bit of weight for her sister's wedding,
right?
And she just wanted to feel better within herself. And she loved training with me. She used to do the boot camps all the time,
right?
And she said openly that's like they were probably some of the best years that she's had when she was into her fitness and things like that. And she even took on the 3 Peaks Challenge, and she smashed the 3 Peaks Challenge. I trained her for that, so she smashed that. She was doing really well with her fitness.
Fabulous.
So I felt like, because I was in a bit of a bad place when I was training Julie and stuff with the previous relationship, and she was there for me without even realising it, how like supportive she was, and just how happy I was just to train her, and the way she would push herself through the training sessions used to make me just push myself through what I was going through. And it just really touched us, and I thought I've been following her story and everything. So I decided that I was going to try and help her raise some extra funds towards like her bucket lists and that.
Sure.
So I decided, because I'm from Berwick-upon-Tweed originally and I live in Morpeth,
right.
I decided that I was going to run from Berwick to Morpeth in one hit.
What?
So I messaged her sister Lindsay and I said, look, I'm thinking about doing this for Julie, and I'm going to build like a page on Facebook and see if I can help towards some funds here for her so she can do the things that she wants to do.
Right.
And obviously, we never really set a date on it or anything. Like I'm not a long distance runner. I don't really even like running, to be honest with you.
Right. Well, all I know is from years of driving that road, it's about an hour and 10 minutes at the best of times, and that's if you're in a car doing 60. This is going to take you the bulk of a day, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it was a good haul. Like, so I decided I gave myself like 3 weeks to do it, and I said I was going to do it on the bank holiday Sunday.
Right.
So I left Morpeth at like 12:30 on the Saturday night.
Right.
Got to Berwick for about 1:30.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, got because my mum still lives up there, so I got changed into my running clothes.
Right.
At about 1:30, 1:45 in the morning, stretched off, went to the end of the road, and I set off at 2:02 in the morning. I was going to go the coastal route, but that adds an extra 10 miles on. So I had a team of people. I had like Julie's brother and another very close friend, Darren and Gareth, in a Jeep behind me with a beacon on to make sure I was quite safe and the road was illuminated in the dark.
Sure.
And then I'd kind of marked out every 5 miles at a lay-by or a junction or a bus stop, like a 5 mile point.
And you were having, what, like an hour break every 5 mile or so?
No, like 2 minutes.
2 minutes? Oh,
yeah. So my rationale behind all of this, because Julie was like, I think you're absolutely crazy. You don't need to do that for me. And my rationale behind all of this was I trained Julie to do the 3 Peaks challenge, right? Mm-hmm. Now that's three big hills broken into 3 stages.
Sure.
And when I look at Julie's fitness levels to do that, and I look at my fitness levels, so me to really challenge myself on the same fitness level scale, I thought, why don't I just break this run down into 3 15-mile chunks? I'll do Berwick to Belford, Belford to Alnwick, and then Alnwick to Morpeth.
Right.
So in my mind, that was my version of the 3 Peaks. That was my 3 little steps that I'm going to do for her. So in each of the 15-mile sections, I'd marked out 5 miles, and I'd had this plan in my mind that I'll run the first 5 miles at a slower pace, like a warm-up pace. I'll run the next 5 miles a little bit quicker, and then I'll cool down for the next 5 miles. Then I'll stop. I'll get some hydration, some nutrition, change my socks, change my trainers. And I'll just do that 3 times. So away we went at 2:02 in the morning. And my first 5 miles I was hoping to come in at like maybe 12, 13-minute miles, and I ran them at like 8:59, 9, 10-minute miles. And I thought, this is too fast, but I'm sticking to the game plan, so my next 5 is going to be a little bit quicker. So I ran my next 5, and they come in a little bit quicker. Whoa. Maybe it's like 7:40, 7:50, 8:05s, and I'm thinking this is a phenomenal pace. It was early in the morning. I wasn't overly heating. My heart rate wasn't really going past 139. So my breathing was fine. I was okay. My feet were okay. Yeah. So I ran my next 5 miles to the end of my first 15-mile point. So my first sort of proper break. I ran that section, and they came in at like 8:50s, 9:20s, 9:30s, and I was starting to get a little bit better at slowing down. Right. Like I say, I'm not a long-distance runner. The last time I ran a marathon once when I was in the army back in 2000 or 2001.
Right.
I've done a half marathon since then, but in the last 10 years, I think 8 miles is the furthest I've ever ran. So I'm not educated on how to pace myself on like ultra marathons.
No, it just seems you dealt with it in a sensible kind of manner. At the end of your first 15 mile, were you not ruined?
I was excited because I'd accomplished that in such a quick time. I'd done that in 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And I'd planned for 3 hours, on average about 3 hours, for the first 15 miles, each 15-mile section, to do about 3 hours. So I wanted to try and get the whole thing done in like between 10 and 12 hours, if I could, with a little rest in between. So I was like 30 minutes ahead of schedule. And at this point, I was all right. I was fine. So my 15 to 20 miles, I thought, well, I've done the first leg. I rested. I got some nutrition. I got some hydration. And then I took off again on the first 5 of my second leg.
Right.
And by this point, the sun had started to come up. So it was starting to get a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
And it was starting to get a bit warmer. And where were we? We were coming down towards Purdy Lodge at this point. And I just looked up, and all I could see was that, Alan, you know the road. As soon as I came around Moose and Ben's, I just looked up, and I just saw this stretch of road, which looked to be the biggest. Yeah, it was the longest run. I was like, this is hard. It's like, I must have been at about the 18-mile mark at this point, or thereabouts, and I thought, this is long. So as I was running, I had to pull over into the garage quickly and whip the tracksuit bottoms. I've had the shorts and put the shorts on quickly. Because my legs were starting to warm up quite a lot with the heat of the sun coming up and that, so I had to get those off, and that helped. But then this massive long stretch, and when I got to the end of the 20-mile mark, my first leg, there was some hills, and I struggled. I really struggled on the hills. They were really my feet were starting to take effect. And I stopped because I was still ahead of schedule. I stopped for about maybe it's about 20 minutes, half an hour. I tried to stay as warm as I could.
Sure.
I was struggling to get going again because maybe I'd stopped for too long, but I was really struggling to get going. So my 20 to 25 miles was probably the hardest bit, just to get back up on my feet and get going.
So I mean, cutting a long story short, I mean, what time did you do? I mean, did you do it within you did it within the 12?
I got there in 12 hours. I did drop short by just a little bit. My mileage must have been off slightly. I thought I made it to the 35-mile mark, and that would have left 10 miles until I was back. But because I kept on stopping and starting my watch, which has got the running app on, when I clocked up the total mileage for the day, it was 41.28, and it's only a 46-mile or 47 or 48-mile journey, so I was only really 7 miles out. Now, from the point where we stopped, I had to get a little lift to the top of Morpeth, and then I ran back in from the top of Morpeth. So I met all of Julie's family just by Lancaster Park, like her mum and her sisters, and and I must say, like, the support that I was getting from friends and Julie's family all the way down the A1 was absolutely phenomenal. At one point, we even had on the dual carriageway, we even had a policeman pull us. When one of my friends, because he was helping us by running with us for a little bit, because he was speaking to him while I kept plodding on.
Right.
And he told him what I was doing, and I'd set off at 2 o'clock in the morning, and the policeman rang the job in, and he said, "Look, this guy's on the dual carriageway. He's got a convoy. Someone following him. Please let him continue." And then he generously even went on the Facebook page and donated as well. So
that's great.
That was absolutely class what he done there.
No, it's fantastic. But let's get people to the page again. It's Facebook, and it's Julie Gurrin. And if you'd like to help in any way to raise some money for our bucket list, but congratulations on what you did, because that's no small feat at all, especially if you're not a runner to start with. That really was quite something. But great talking to you, Sid. Thanks for coming on, man. Great job.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
Bye.
man. All the best. Special fella. You did great works. I'm going to share with you a couple of other calls. The whole cancer, the damn word. We've had some horror stories on Night Owls.
She's 21.
She's 21 and she's been diagnosed with cervical cancer, my goodness.
Yeah.
So now, hopefully, because of smears, caught early then.
Yeah, it has. It's only been 5 months, but it's still a worry.
No, absolutely. So what are they doing when it's caught in that space of time?
Well, they've done a biopsy thing today and cauterized it, and obviously once she gets the results in a couple of weeks, and they're going to obviously think about treatment and progress from there, hopefully.
Being a mammy, bet your whole world collapsed when you first heard.
I don't think it's sunk in yet.
It's the Night Owls, and every corner we turn, someone else is hit by that damn word.
Went to the hospital. I've got some bad news for you.
What an understatement that was, my goodness.
And I sat in the bed, and she just held me hand. She says, "I've got cancer." I'm telling you, she just pulled the curtain round, and she was consoling me. You know what I mean? It was like, she was so strong. Anyway, she was telling me that she got this cancer. She says, I want to fight it. And my God, she has. She's done, I mean, absolutely horrific what she's been through. And I've been through it with her every step of the way. I've never left her side.
I bet you have. Special people.
They give us 5 to 7 years to live, and I'm still here.
And you're going to be here a damn sight longer as well.
Yes, all because of you guys.
It's not just that. It's because you got something inside you that's prepared to fight for it, though.
Of course.
There's an awful lot of people, you know, who they get a message like that and they think, it's all over, that's it, I'm done. And they sit down and they let it happen.
Yeah, as soon as I got me 2012 all clear, I got up, got on my bike, start cycling, start swimming, give up drinking, give up smoking, and everything, you know what I mean?
And there is the other side of that curtain. I think the hardest part for you, if I'm honest, John, was the fact that you'd been through it with your mum. Your mum's gone, now you've got it.
Yeah, and it was exactly a year to the day being diagnosed with it, Alan. But Alan, I come from a fighting background.
Yeah.
I think you remember I told you I was a soldier.
Yeah.
For 24 years. And I was determined not to let the bullet take me.
Good.
And give me the strength to turn back the tide for the family.
Yeah.
And I am where I am now.
Yeah.
And the brilliant news was music to my ears when they said, no chemo, no radiotherapy, you're clear. That's music to your ears.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very positive, world-class surgeons, and I just hope for everybody else.
I'm still absorbing it.
Oh, my goodness. They've just given you the rest of your life.
They have.
How
My
about
life's
that?
starting. And it's just honestly totally amazing.
That is so good. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to get up and do a little dance.
Oh, go on.
I'm moving. I'm doing it. That's great news.
Wiggle that tush.
Fantastic.
But, you know, it's been a hard, long life.
Oh, blimey. I bet what a year you've had. Because once that gets in your head,
I know.
it's like a little wriggly worm that won't go away, and it's there when you go to sleep, and it's there when you wake up in the morning.
Every morning when I woke up, I thought, I've got cancer. You know, I've had a lot of stuff happen to me in life, and 2 or 3 times I emailed you just to get it off my chest.
No, I know that.
It's been a hard life from being a little
Just a second, Joyce. Hang on, before we go any further. Joyce hasn't got cancer, everybody! How about that? That's brilliant.
Oh, that's lovely.
That's great. That's fantastic. I'm so happy.
I rang in because, you know, I go back a long way with you like a lot of other people. It's been my lifeline for so many years, you know.
Thank you. Special people battling through and getting there. How bad you want it. That's the deal. Always fight. And on the same tack, Stacey's been on and says, please, Alan, could you ask the listeners if anybody has a spare television with free view? I'm really desperately needing one as I spend most of my days in bed because of my chemotherapy tablets. It's very boring. I don't have a TV, and if possible, could somebody deliver it or get it close to Walker? I'm in all the time. I don't want to risk going out with having cancer as badly as I do. Thank you so much. Has anybody in Walker got a TV with free view so she can just stay in bed and hopefully get better? If anybody has a TV with a free view on, Stacey would be very, very much obliged. Alan Robson with your greatest hits radio. Blimey, there's still room for you to talk about when you were showing up or when someone showed you or when you showed somebody else up. We want those stories too. But let's talk to Ben, who was, of course, one of the members of Everything But the Girl. And I asked him about, like, ghosty habnabs. So what about ghosts? Ever seen a ghost that had a strange, spooky experience of any kind in this amazing life you've had?
Well, I would like to say no, because I'm not a particularly superstitious person, and I don't sort of believe in that kind of thing.
Right.
But I do feel I did have one experience once in London. We were living in a rented flat not long after we left university. We came down to be musicians in London, Tracy and I. We were in Camden and Belsize Park, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a small flat over a garage, and I just remember there was we had one bedroom and then there was a tiny box room,
Right.
and you could see the box room from the kitchen table. And I remember sitting at the kitchen table and thinking that the flat felt really cold, unusually cold, and looking up and being convinced I could see a female figure sitting on the bed in the box room.
Wow.
And I got up to walk towards it, and it disappeared. And I have never, ever had an experience like that in my life before. I'm not the kind of person who looks for that kind of thing. Perhaps it was something psychological. Perhaps I'd drunk too much absinthe or something. But you know, whatever it was, it's left its mark on my mind, and it does come back to me when people ask me that question.
It's hard to get, isn't it? Yeah, it's just hard because I'm seeing the reflection. Oh my God, I'm shaking for some reason. It's out of this window, Tony. It's this window here, mate.
You get around the windows. Can't see with that torch.
Gotcha. At the bottom corner, on your left-hand side, just at the far end, you come to like a gate. That's it. You were on it there, Kenny.
This here?
Yeah. You were on it briefly. Let the people at home have a chance just for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to move on. We're going out to the cemetery in a second. But we mentioned some of the sports that the Vikings did. The Vikings invented free love before the hippies in the 1960s. They were the most clean and hygienic of people, and you'd never have thought that from the Vikings. They carried around with them tweezers, razors, combs, ear cleaners, and the women were equal to men. And that's one of the reasons why they hated the Christians, because they said the Christians and their holy book put women down, and where women have an equal place. In fact, they should be considered, the pagans believe all women are princesses and should be treated like princesses because they are the bearer of children. The Vikings discovered America 500 years before Columbus. They were early vegetarians. They ate fish, but they didn't eat a lot of meat. If their children were unpleasant, weak, or sickly, you could cast them out and say they're not my children anymore, and I'm going to take on this other kid because he's a hard worker and he's amazing, and I'm going to keep with him. And they also invented the words anger, hell, ugly, weak, skull, and slaughter. And also some more Viking words that you use. Oh, hang on, Kenny over there. Quickly, far side, there, just at the end.
Oh, right.
Can you see that misty thing at the end?
Yeah, just to the right of that there.
Yes, there's like a light bit of wall just beyond it. There's
That's
something
just
wispy.
next to the grave, isn't
It's
it?
in the cemetery. We've got to get out in the cemetery. We've got to get in there.
I think
There's something moving there. But other words invented by the Vikings: freckles,
right?
Husband and wife are Viking
way.
words. Nobody was a husband or a wife until the Vikings. And the Christians took the Viking word hell and changed it, because in Viking, hell is a bad place. Nobody wants to go to hell because hell is a bad place. That's just a bad place. And the Christians changed it and said it's where the fallen angel Lucifer, the devil, lived. And then they inserted it into Bibles as a way to frighten people into churches so they could get their money. All of the Bibles were changed in 800 AD to have stories about hell put into it. So to say that the Bible was written, at the time of Christ, we already know it was 200 odd years later, but it was a Viking word, so it wasn't in the Bible till 800. They invented chess. They invented law courts. They had a couple of different types of warriors as well that might be worth hearing about. One was called the Huskaris. If you were the leader of the Vikings, what you would do, you would have 2 Huskaris with you. And the Huskaris were people that carried axes, and they were essentially bouncers, security men for the king of that particular tribe, or the lord of that particular tribe, Huskaris. And also the word berserk came from the Vikings, because some people call the Vikings berserkers. And what they did, you seem to be fascinated.
Yeah.
Is it that corner again?
I know we're going to get something there. It's like,
look at that.
Yeah, it's like a haze, isn't it?
Can you not get a look at it? It's tough. Right, let's go. Cemetery it.
Yeah.
But at least we've been in, and that's okay. Well, open the door and let him run. Put your mask on, Ken.
Right. Do we need to go?
Okay, Tony. Clear. So if you disappear. Cheers, love you. Go straight around to your left, if we can.
Mask off.
Masks off. We might as well follow that up though while it's
definitely
there.
There's stuff in that graveyard.
Just that was definite mist. No question about it. We saw a figure, and it's along here that you can. Next one up. Just we've got so much to do in this first hour. And then I want to make my way to the castle because the tombs are in that direction too.
Yeah. The caves kind of thing.
Yeah. They're old kilns, but apparently some of the kilns were put in a place where the children, they were talking to the children. It's one of the big spirits here. I haven't even told you. Oh, I've got so many stories about this place. And I'd rather tell you those stories when we're there. It was over there.
It was, wasn't it?
If we're looking out, it was over here.
What the hell?
Oh,
there's a bird. Oh, my word. There's stuff over here, like, and you're
seeing stuff.
You just feel it.
Yeah. Can you hear voices?
All the time.
I hope people at home are picking up.
Footsteps.
Just quiet.
There was definitely footsteps there. And it wasn't us. We stood still.
I heard something. And there's the window that we've just been in. It's that one there. So, and this is the area where we saw something. Just here.
488 3188. Oh, blimey. Alison sent a story in too. And she says, Alan, sadly I'm working but listening, so can't come on the show. My camping story, and I have lots. A boyfriend and myself were at a bike rally. And after a few beers, we went back to the tent. And I say, amorously, leave your waistcoat on. So he strips to put the waistcoat back on. And all of his baccy fell out of it. How romantic. All of his baccy fell out of his pocket and into my belly button. Now, I have an issue with belly buttons, and I scream, oh, man, it's wet in me belly button. It's made me feel sick. Get your fingers out. It feels like you're turning me inside out. Everyone camping next to us cheered, and I never lived it down. Because you forget. You think, yes, you're in canvas, but you think wall. Oh, no. Everybody hears every damn thing. And so that's an embarrassing story. I must admit, when I went on a holiday with the lads all went to Cayela de la Costa, Spain, and just down from Salou. And in the next room, we were 3 beds in a room, 3 lads. And next door there was a German fella who got drunk every night and was endlessly sick all the way through the night. And we came in totally whittled, it has to be said, at about 3:30 in the morning. And we could hear the German guy in the toilet through the wafer-thin wall, just being just sick and sick and sick and sick. And he stopped. And I heard his girlfriend or his wife go, "Oh, this is good, it's good," that he's feeling better. So we all started going, and making sick noises as if we were being sick. And he started again, and we all burst out laughing. That wasn't a nice thing to do, but it happened to be funny at the time. But let's talk about some of them after we've had a chat with Anne, who's in West Denton. Hello, Anne.
Hello, Alan.
Hello, love.
I'm not being I've got to the subject because I know you're busy.
No problem.
Honestly speaking, I was upset about all the calls about cancer and I was really stressed up. I'm going to send some because I thought I'm going to do my garden, but I can send some. I'll get that sorted out. Thing is, this is just too. I'm not being long. I know the time's quick. I went to the treatment, which is very good, right?
Good.
I'll put you in the picture.
Yeah, what's happened?
I had to get my liver sorted out, right?
So what are they going to do with that then?
I'll tell you what happened. And then I waited till lovely, Dr. Freeman. And he sat down with my daughter because I was the first time in 30 years. It took a lot of energy. So he said, "You were having a show with the doctor." He says, "I'm good for me. Never mind." He says, the first phase from me, Alan.
Uh-huh.
The antibiotics, right? Listen to this. Hope everybody's listening. That's called your yellow on your face, right?
Right.
It says I can get it every year now. I can't get no more antibiotics. That word, antibiotics.
Right.
And other people never get in my life. It's caused your blood, not your sugar. Like us forgot.
Uh-huh.
It's all 400. It's like, well, I'm not a medical. It went down to 300. It hit me kidneys through that antibiotic.
Right.
It hit my kidneys, but they're sorting it out. It's going down low. And I've name it now through it all. I'm tough for stories.
We know this.
I mean, and I have to wait for the doctor to
But it sounds like though that a lot of the stuff, a lot of the problems you've got have been caused because you've taken a lot of antibiotics.
But the thing is that I just shouldn't have the third antibiotics of the first one because the doctor says his stomach in the antibiotic allergic, so I can't have any more because you get it again. I'm not going sorry for myself when I heard that. And he said, like, you lovely doctor, he says, he says, he's all right for age because I had to have my daughters with us and I haven't had a joke.
Right, sure.
He thinks I'm intelligent, so I'm waiting for my results.
Right.
You have to be like that, haven't you, if you just go, and I've lost the stone.
Hey.
Right. Well, I'm quite pleased, but it's their fault, but I was, my daughter's really mad. It's just... Well,
it just seems that the thing that I've noticed about medicine in general is that all of the things they give you to cure you also nearly always has a side effect that makes something else worse. So it makes you wonder whether you should bother at all with some of these damn things. Awful.
No, but I had to have it on my toe because it was all inflamed.
I know that. I understand that.
Yes.
No, shocking.
And I was sick all the time, but I'm not sick now. And it's bye, Anne. But I'm hoping... I don't know what I'm laughing about. He's going to send us some antibiotics. Oh, it was a lovely tissue, doctor. Antibiotics. So mine... They've been very good to frame in mine, Alan. The nurses have been very good to us. It's not their fault for the antibiotics. You understand, Alan?
Yeah, I do, but it's still sad that you've got so many problems still. It would be nice to think you could get shot with them.
It's a medical system making antibiotics.
Yeah, that you're allergic
What I
to.
got.
Hey, who's
But I'm
still
not a medical person. This is a quick little call because I know you're busy.
Okay.
Well, you would laugh after this. Well, I'll not mention no names or not.
Okay.
So, my daughter used to go to certain school. She was only 8, bless her.
Right.
All right. No, the headmistress did anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of my daughters was bullied, right? She sorted it out. So, do you know what happened? She went up to school. She's only, you know, the stupid headmistress did. So, and then anyway, she got this brush in her hand. You couldn't believe this, Alan.
Mm-hmm.
And she was banging on her head and brushing her hair and banging on her head and cruelty. So the dad went up. And what she done there, she's only 8, she's the good thing. She's got the brush off her hand.
Mm-hmm.
She says, you're not going to do it again. Don't dare do that to me. She's only 8, you know.
Ah, good girl.
She's telling us today. And I'm not saying the word, but she called it C-O-W.
Oh, right.
But it's only 8, It's only 8. I need to call the headmistress. And she ran down to the door when Johnny was alive. And she was that fat, she was wobbling. And we were talking about bullying, you know. And I thought, well, I'll just bring my daughter out. Other one stuck up for herself.
Yeah.
But why should adults hit my daughter on the head with a brush and hurting and combing her hair?
Why would you? Why would anybody do that to a bairn that small? I mean, even if she was being naughty, you wouldn't do that to a bairn.
No, I'm going. How do I put her?
Complaint in.
No, I'm put the complaint. You see, why should I? Why can I send? I mean, I sent £10 this no. Why can I put something in for that fun for that poor lad when I have got children myself?
I tell you what, just stay online and we'll put you through to Chris next door, who'll tell you.
Can I put on my card?
It's. I suppose we'll find a way to make it happen. Have a word with Chris because he might be able to hook you up with Grant, so you could send it directly to Grant. You see, so.
Well, I haven't got an internet, Alan.
No, I know that. I know that, but
all right.
But you could maybe do it with a stamp and an envelope. You see, so stay on the line. We'll sort you out, Anne. But thank you for your kindness as always. Always spectacular. Always grand. Piece of music, and I think I should pick a good one. And I mean not just a fairly good one. I mean The Business.
That's the white wall there, Kenny.
Yeah.
So it was just in front of
Just
here.
there, wasn't it?
And I mean, oh, God, blimey, look at this place. There's stuff here, man. And you see those crosses that I was telling you about? Here they are officially. The Christian cross merged with the circle of life. They're all of that sort because they didn't want the pagans to believe in nature, anything like that.
And what's the symbolic of that? It's a symbol of the cross on.
That's just the cross. It's just a Christian thing, yeah. Have a look inside, Tony, as well. I think we've got to go down and.
No thanks.
Not inside the grave.
Did you get mourning in there?
Yeah. From over there. Listen.
There?
People at home must be able to hear that.
That's quite loud.
This way, isn't it?
Yeah. Voices as well. Voices as well.
That's crying?
It is. It's crying.
Big word.
People are saying it could be the seals.
I don't think seals would make that noise and that loud. There's all kinds of mist here, man. Look at this, Tony. Can you see it in the church, in the light? Look. Can you see that?
What is it? Mist.
Like it. Do you see that?
You getting it?
Not sure.
Hopefully somebody at home. If
There was lots of mist before it went live as well, wasn't there?
No,
Yeah,
but it was
absolutely.
like things in the light down there.
There's crying over here. They're crying.
It's always the same. Every time we come to
But crying.
a graveyard, we get something, don't we?
Absolutely.
Every time.
The hell.
What is that there?
Just looks like a mausoleum. Walk up, have a look.
Oh yeah. Thanks.
The noise is louder here. Are people picking that up at home? Seals?
Seals can't make that noise.
Well, if you said that, it sound like seals.
The water's a long way away. That sounds like more than one person.
Strange noises. Strange noises.
That's weird.
That's just weird wailing.
Isn't it?
Crying for the souls of the dead.
That's strange.
We've got to go down the lane where the Viking story takes us next. So let's head out this way. Shall we go down and around down here?
Right.
And we go down and around. I think that's the way to roll it. So Tony, you lead the way down and around, and then we'll get onto that trail, I think. Right? No, absolutely. We certainly do that too. We can. Are we back?
We are back.
Sorry about when we use anything remotely technical, as you know yourself, sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not, but we'll get back with you as soon as we can. We're going to the castle, we're going to the tombs. We've got to go through the town where there's all kinds of stories, including one amazing. Last week in the extras that we gave you, we told the story of Annie Walker, who used to work at Lumley Castle, and how she died, and how after her death, she managed to act as a witness to her own murder and got 2 men hanged. Now that's amazing. This time, we've got a story of a very famous ghost, someone who is famous, who's got paintings of himself in various museums, who saved a woman's life on the island 300 years after he was dead. So we're doing that. But let's make the most of this first, because in all directions, there's every grave has a story too, you know.
Seen that one surrounded by the tree?
Oh, that's quite creepy, isn't it?
Isn't it?
In memoriam. I can't make it out with
Can't read it. No.
No, it's. Hang on. Take you.
You can get it.
Take it down. Robert Segman. segment.
Cool.
Oh, it's strange.
There's a lot of Wilsons in here, isn't there?
There's a lot. I'm getting stuff over there though.
There's definitely stuff.
Yeah, definitely over here.
Got it there. There's movement. Is that somebody up on the hill? I thought I was someone on the hill there. It's not that post, isn't it? Oh, there's stuff in me light. Look at it, Tony. Look at that. Can you see that? Look. All round is.
What the hell is it?
All round me. Look.
What the hell is it? Is it raining?
Can you see that?
It can't be raining. It's moving up.
Particles or something. Or
but what the hell?
Or...
What is this?
It was
I know
all
Kenny's
round
got
us.
the strongest camera.
It was
torch
all
on.
round us there for like a minute.
I hope people at home saw it. I know.
It was just all round us. There.
What? What? That's what?
That was weird. That was absolutely weird.
What the hell's that?
There.
Yeah. No.
More for a scam than those in older age groups. In sport, England beat Croatia 1-0 in their first Euro 2020 match. Raheem Sterling scored the winner. England's record goal scorer Wayne Rooney says it was a big result.
To win that will give all the players not a boost in confidence, but it'll just give them that bit of relief to know they're comfortable in the group now.
World tennis number one Novak Djokovic has moved to within one Grand Slam win of equalling the record for men's singles titles. He came from 2 sets down to beat Stefanos Tsitsipas in yesterday's French Open final. And Dame Vera Lynn's family will launch an appeal to raise money for a statue in memory of the late singer. It'll be put up near the White Cliffs of Dover. Dame Vera died last June at the age of 103. From Sky News, I'm Michael Worrell.
I'm a big fan of people putting monuments up, statues to famous people in famous places. Pretty much everywhere we go, including Holy Island, there's places where it's begging for a statue, for a plaque, for a little bit of history. This was the scene where this happened. And of course, even Bamborough Castle, where this is where the new Indiana Jones film is being filmed at, you know. The people at Bamborough are tremendous. And what a castle it is. They picked a champ of a castle. So I can't really blame them. Time for a third clue, though. Let's see how wise you will ultimately be. 4 clues. The answers all have something in common. And you've got to tell me what that is. That is the greatest hit link here on Greatest Hits Radio Northeast. The first clue is Iron Maiden had a greatest hit featuring 666. Iron Maiden had a greatest hit featuring 666. Okay, so what was that? The second clue, a Dean Friedman hit. A Dean Friedman greatest hit, in fact. A Dean Friedman greatest hit. So you've got 2 clues. Here is clue number 3. An Adam and the Ant greatest hit with a distinctive dance. Okay, Adam and the Ants were greatest hit with a distinctive dance. That's 3 clues. When you get the 4th clue, work out what the link is and then tell me if you are wise enough. And blimey, it's going to take a grey cell or 2 to get this sucker, so just be warned. Right, we have Stephen from Durham, and then I've got a whole batch of, I promised you, those showing yourself up calls. Hi, Stephen.
Hi, Alan.
Hello there, good morning. What can we do for you, Stephen?
So, first of all, well done to England for beating Croatia today, but I knew they would. Because Croatia aren't a very good team.
Well, mind you say that, but they've been beating England in recent games, so they weren't a pushover or anything.
Oh, yes. Last time when they beat them, they weren't a brilliant team, but they were better than England,
Sure.
I suppose, yeah.
So what do you reckon? A lot of people now are saying, oh, hang on, we've got a squad that's got sufficient depth to maybe win it this time. Do you think so?
Yes, they might go a fair way. I don't know because of injuries and things, but I'll be supporting Scotland on Friday night.
Right.
Because I got sausage bud and so will Liam from Whitbed.
Yeah. Be interesting. I mean, I hope Scotland do well too. It'd be nice to think they would, because they've got some decent players in their team for first time that I can remember. So fingers crossed. Anything else then, Stephen?
Yeah, you're on about, yes, the hair races or something, adventures, or something that happens, you see.
Yes.
Well, something happened to me recently, last Thursday, or the Thursday before. I got stung by a wasp at 7 o'clock in the morning in the house.
Oh,
I went to the toilet as usual, and when I stood up to wash my hands, and I think on the bathroom rug, something went right through the middle of my right foot where I had my verruca, and when I looked, it was a wasp, a little thing.
So did you go to the chemist and get them to take the sting out, or were you able to take the sting out?
My mum, yes.
Your mum got it.
It was 7 o'clock in the morning, so we were half asleep and that.
Yeah, I bet.
And on the green rug, so on the horn, I must have thought it was grass,
Right, yeah, camouflage. Oh, that's nasty. Wasps are sneaky things. They don't think twice about sticking a sting in. So the thing is, because you see, they can sting you and survive. If a bee stings you, it's dead. So they're a bit safer to be with. Wasps, they'll sting you as soon as look at you. They seem to have a bit of attitude about them, wasps.
Yes, it was a little one. It looked like a hornet, green,
Right.
and I picked it up out of my foot and put it in the sink, and it was still, and then I put it in down the toilet and flushed it, and pushed it away, and I couldn't put my foot down at the time.
Sure. Well, if any of the night owls have got any good wasp or sting stories, let's have a few of them tonight as well. What else you got for us, Stephen?
About showing yourself up or something like that.
Yes. Has it ever happened to you?
I suppose so at your time, but then, when you were sick off school, and then by the evening you felt better, didn't you?
Always.
And you wanted to go to the shop. Did your mom say the same thing as my mom said? If you're not well enough to go to school,
You're not well enough to go to the shop, absolutely.
Anything else?
Oh, we all had that one, definitely, 100%. Because it's the thing that you always did when you wanted a day off school, and it was usually the day the double maths were on first subject. You'd be lying in bed, you go, I can't make it. And then, of course, your mother would contact the school and apologise for you, or write a note and send it with another kid. And then by about 10 o'clock, you felt great, and you knew you were off school for the rest of the day, but you didn't want to look too active in case your mother says, oh, well, I'll take you in at lunchtime. So you had to still be a bit poorly till about at least 1 o'clock in the afternoon, then you'd pretty much got away with it.
Oh, yes. Well, I used to get taken. There was a school which was coming round, you see, the Middlesbrough and that, who we knew, and Mabel's the news agent was at the top,
Right.
and all that. Sometimes some taxis, yes.
Yeah.
There's no
Good. Did your mother not buy you some sweets because you were poorly sick? So I've bought you some licorice or something to build you up.
Yes, sometimes my dad used to, I used to work at the job centre, and my dad was the minister in Cynthia.
All
And
right.
he used to send loads, from Central.
Yeah, they'll be looking after you properly. Anything else then, Stephen?
I can't say any yes. Well,
Okay.
lockdown's coming now,
Right.
But I would snap,
Okay.
I go to jail, I wouldn't take it.
No.
To affect the prisoners, I wouldn't stay in the house all the time back then,
Right, no, I hear you. Hey, well, thank you very much for coming on, Stephen. Good to hear from you as always.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate. Bye-bye. So there is Stephen in Durham. Now, we've been talking briefly about, well, showing yourself up. Is there anything worse than bumping into an ex?
This lass, I've never seen her for years, and I went out with her through going to college together. She was in my year.
Right.
But we went to work out for about 4 years. I used to sleep with her mother's every weekend.
Oh, blame
Her father didn't like us very much, like, he was a bit excitable. But anyway, the mother, I got on well with the mother, right? So anyway, I walked in the room, like, I clocked her straight away. I thought, oh, hey, there she is over there. So anyway, I turned me back and I thought, oh, no. I'm looking at myself thinking, have I got my best shirt on? Have I got my best jeans on? But in night, I've got got a laugh. I've just had a beer and I've got a laugh, right? So I was like, I'll have to rethink this, like, so.
Yeah.
I got a drink with me pal anyway. I'll tell all afterwards, like, she laughs her head off. We went and got this seat in, like, the big concert room where it was all kicking off and that, the DJ and that.
Yeah.
She got up, she's dancing with her friends. And I'm, like, just having a quick look at her, you know, we're just, like, looking at each other. I thought, oh, hey, she's over there. So anyway, I'm trying not to chat about it, but she hasn't turned up when you want she's by herself. And I thought, she said, oh, wait. Anyway, one thing led to another, and she walks past the table, Alan. My pal's left us, and he's gone to dance with the fella, so I'm by myself, and she just come over and had a bit crack on, right?
Right.
What's happened was she sat down, right?
Yeah.
And this is where it gets embarrassing, right? By this time she sat down, she'd had a couple of drinks. I could tell by her eyes, not the way she was saying her words.
Yeah.
I've had a few drinks. You just start talking, look that crap, Alan, look that rubbish. You start talking rubbish to the lass you're trying to impress her. I live in a council house for all lass, right? Never had it. She bought this apartment. What she's telling me, she's working for Lloyd's TSB, this and that, blah blah blah.
Brilliant.
Because she's doing so well, I think, well, yeah, I've got to start telling her I've done so well. So I'm telling her I've got a mortgage. We've got a mortgage in with this. Oh, I love the little beer. I'm showing her photos on my phone of me being high. But just, I've got this car. Oh, well, I've got this. I'm trying to beat her every time, and I think, what am I doing? But I didn't realise till the next morning. The next morning, I was laughing. I was telling my lass, I said, hey, I've made a right awesome in front of this lass. You know what I mean?
Have you done that? Because that's kind of a mixture of the snob. You know, somebody thinks I've done better than them, so I'm going to show them and tell them this. Have you got yourself into trouble doing that kind of thing? Or have you just lost a personal item?
My husband, I was married 14 years, but he walked out on us 2 years ago for another man.
Right.
I didn't even know how to say this, to be honest with you. It's going to sound a bit rude. I went on Summer's party, right?
Right.
And as you do, we're one of these vibrators. Right? So it had been a while. I'd come back from a night out and I've used it, right? Which I was using it.
Right.
So, but I didn't know at this time, I knew my partner had cheated on us with this man.
Right.
And then I get the call from the clinic to say I'd contracted an STI off him.
Ah, right.
So my friend at the time, because I obviously was staying with her because of him leaving us, this is going to sound odd, I don't even know how to say it. She basically come and said, because there was two of them, she'd used mine by mistake.
Yeah,
and then I found out about this STI.
So you're going to have to tell her that she might have it as well.
She's even been using it on the bloke.
Oh, blame me. When you play, everybody's got to be told, otherwise you're just playing passy the parcel, aren't you?
I know, Alan.
That's not good.
No,
this is...
I have to tell her.
I absolutely think you should tell her, and maybe even contact the company that makes wet wipes and make a TV commercial about it.
Well, that's just it. I mean, I'm hoping because I wash it after I use it that she hasn't. Yeah. But I mean, it's just a really embarrassing situation.
Talk about showing yourself and other people up. Blame me, that'll do it. And also, you never take a man when you go shopping.
He used to be terrible for just playing tricks.
Right.
So we would go to Asda, and then they used to have the loose bacon, the loose cheese and everything all on a counter.
Right.
So we'd stand in front of the cheese, and he would ask for half a pound of that bacon and point at a piece of cheese. Yeah, so obviously the girls would go for the cheese.
Right.
And then realise that's not the cheese. But I used to get embarrassed and think, oh, don't. And then one day, they were bringing bread out of the back.
Yeah.
And you know, they've got them floppy plastic doors.
Yes,
Well, there was a young girl, she wasn't very big, and she was pushing the trolley out. So my husband, Gary, stuck his foot against the door. And she was pushing and grunting and trying her hardest to get this trolley out. And then they realised what it was, so they all ganged up on him. He was going mad because he had brand new trainers on at the time, high tech. He was going back a few years,
yeah.
And they stood all over them. But
I would have been tempted to stand all over him. There you go. The other problem that we have when it comes to showing yourself or other people up is the fact that a lot of us really like alcohol. Especially if you go on a ferry trip. She just rang you to say, oh, by the way, I'm in France.
This morning she went, Amber, what happened last night? I was like, I haven't got a clue.
So you were with her?
1 minute she was there and the next minute she was gone.
But
And
I mean, when you say to get a ferry to France, do they do them from the Tyne, or did you have to travel down the country?
I really, really don't know. But all I know is there's actually not in this country right now.
Is she sure she's in France? She could be in Belgium or Holland or... She would.
don't know.
Why the talk a bit funny? Could just be Ashington. No, no idea where they are. And drunken antics. I think we've all been kind of guilty of a wobble here and there.
They drop a penny in your drink and tell you you've got to drink it as quick as you can because you've got to save the Queen because she's drowning.
Right.
And they do that to me all the time. I mean, I had my engagement party about 3 weeks ago and they got me obliterated in the space of half an hour when they arrived. But this particular night in Whitley Bay, we were drinking. I was having treble vodka, lime and sodas. And they just kept doing it. And all of a sudden, I don't really remember what happened much after that. I know they put me to bed. And I used to live above a pub at the time, and it was a very long walk to the toilet. And I just remember lying there thinking, I'm not going to make it. And then I looked over the bed, and there was a pint of water that they'd left for me.
Right.
And I just picked up this pint glass of water, threw the water all over my bedroom floor and vomited
In
into
the
this
glass. Clever move, because the water will dry and it saves you having to wipe up all of that gunk.
Well, you'd think that, but then I went and bloody knocked it over.
And you can get worse drunken things.
So we used to mess around when we were teenagers. There was a big field behind the school in Shields, behind Lindisfarne.
Right.
And one night we were messing around on there, and we found one of these like concrete balls that you used to see on the top of gate posts, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you used to have one
Don't you
either
remember that?
side of the gate post, looking big and fancy, yeah.
So we found this thing, we kind of rolled it around a bit, and then somebody had the bright idea, they rolled it and left it on the penalty spot in front of the goalposts. Anyway, we went wandering up to the top of the field. We were watching the rugby over in the rugby club.
Uh-huh.
Meanwhile, some half-drunk guys wandered on the field. One of them decided to take a penalty. So, not very clever. I think the guy's foot was broken, but it was a bit funny at the time.
Oh, what? I bet you heard it. Did you hear it kind of...
Well, heard him.
Yeah, oh, blimey.
Swinging it.
So tell me your stories, the daft things, the crazy things. We are Greatest Hits Radio Northeast. That's what we do. in. Let me share just some of them with you. Mark says, do you remember the other week I sent you some photos for my mate's mini bar? He's got like his own man cave mini bar thing. Well, this week we added the final piece of the jigsaw, a projector. So who needs the pubs? We're saving bucket loads of cash. And here's the photos of the projector and the projector screen. Normal viewing, it goes full screen, but we were watching an old episode of Top of the Pops. There you go. That's pretty spectacular. So well done, Mark, who thinks that I didn't see the first one and sent me about 14 copies of that for no apparent reason. Mark says, hi, mate. I hope you, Chris, and Antoine de Boogie, alias Hollywood McShane, are cushy. We buried my lass's niece, 24 years old, a couple of weeks ago, talking about cancer. It's a nasty damn thing, and I tug my forelock to anybody who beats it. Keep a hold, he says. He's right, and so do I. And also, this one from Chris the Truck. Hi, Al. My dad's way of saving money at the minute is smoking ciggies. Let me explain. My dad hasn't smoked since the late 70s, but he puts the money that he would spend on cigarettes in the bank. Okay. Camping. Seeing as I never had a foreign holiday until I was 29, all of my holidays growing up were spent in tents or caravans. There were so many memories in terms of disasters. I had a tent that got ripped apart in the wind when I was away with my dad watching some motor racing in Scotland. We ended up sleeping in the car. To make matters worse, it was a tent we were borrowing from my uncle to save money. We ended up having to buy him a new tent. There was also the time at the Lake District that I went to sleep and woke up the next morning in a freezing cold, drenched sleeping bag because it had rained through the night and the tent had leaked. The good memories do far outweigh the bad ones, though. I never wanted a foreign holiday. Cheers, Chris the Truck. Well, you're at the right place at the right time. And Timbo says, is Kenny all right after his brush with the deathly mist? Who knows? And Chris, I think he needs work at the best of times. I've been sent two pictures. One is two people sitting, or I think it's the same pic. It is two people. Check this photo. Two people sitting enjoying the view at Roker. But how many shadows are there? Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that is interesting. There's 3 shadows on the ground. Oh, that's cool. That is a nice one. That came from Amy. Thank you, Amy. How about it? Strange one. And we'll have to try and get that up on the screen at some time so you can all take a look at it. Time for your 4th clue now. We might as well get you calling in with the competition. Clue number 1. Iron Maiden had a greatest hit featuring a 666. What was the name of that greatest hit? Second clue, a Dean Friedman greatest hit. The third clue, Adam and the Ants greatest hit with a distinctive dance to go with it. Adam and the Ants' greatest hit with a distinctive dance to go with it. And the 4th clue, anagram of my first name. Okay, there, it's up on screen now. That 2 people sitting, 3 heads. Wow, explain that if you can. So, the 3rd clue is anagram of my first name. Now, not all of the versions of my first name are nice, polite ones, so just be aware of that, okay? Anagram of my first name. It's not easy having a real name that, if you want to turn it into an anagram, turns into anal knobsaw. But anyway, there you go. So, it's a different anagram to that one, okay? Anagram of my first name. There we go. Let's crap on. And we have Matthew, who is with us in Newcastle upon the Tyne. Hello, Matthew.
Hello, Alan. You all right, mate?
I'm good, man. Good talking to you. What can we do for you?
I'm saying, Alan, do you think Boris Johnson's an idiot not locking everybody down, by the way? I think he's an idiot. You know what I mean?
Well, he's extended things to be careful for 4 weeks. Is that not a good thing, or you don't think so?
It's a good thing, but what about if it spreads even faster, the virus, by the way?
Well,
yeah.
We're looking at the 2 other versions of the virus, because what they're saying is that the vaccines that we've had are giving us protection for most people. It's just there's quite a number of people that haven't had the vaccine or have chosen not to take it. And that's the worrying thing, because obviously if you've got some protection, protection's better than no protection.
Yeah. I'm saying, Alan, do you not think of people who don't take the vaccine, like my Stewie won't take the vaccine, or his friend John won't take the vaccine, they're just being stupid for no reason, you know what I mean? They're saying, the virus isn't real, of course it's real, people have died with it.
Well, the bottom line here is that we're in a country where people have fought for freedom, and part of that freedom is to give people the choice whether they want to take something or not.
Yeah.
So you can call them names if you like, but they're just doing what they think is right.
Yeah.
And they're either going to be proven right or they're going to be proven wrong as time goes by.
Yeah, like I'm saying, Alan, if they don't get the vaccine, they'll be poorly, won't they? They'll be poorly wanted, by the way.
There's a chance of it. I mean, maybe they won't, and I hope they won't. But the bottom line is, if everybody's got the vaccine, there's less chance of anybody spreading it.
I'm saying, Alan, if Boris Johnson's in charge, are we not going to do what he says? Because what about, they're saying it's extended to the 19th of July, by the way, if you know what I mean, by the way.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, Boris Johnson has been able to get away with a lot of things that politicians normally wouldn't be able to get away with because of bringing in emergency powers because of COVID.
Yeah.
Once those emergency powers can't be used again, I think that'll be interesting, because he can't hide behind them, and he's going to have to ask all of the ministers what happens next.
Do you not think you should lose your job, by the way, Alan? Boris Johnson not lose his job, by the way, if you know what I mean, by the way.
Hand on heart, I've not been hugely impressed by him with any of this. But then again, if you look around the world, there's very few world leaders that have come off well where COVID's concerned. Most people have played it pretty badly.
At the end of the day, if he's Prime Minister and he's meant to be looking out for people, saying, no, take the vaccine if you buy, he's not doing that. He's just doing it for money, you know what I mean? You don't think he's doing it for money, Alan, by the way?
I don't know. I think he's
going to do my shout. I'd say about two more things. Shout out to Mary and Jimmy, shout out to Neil, shout out to Ian, shout out to my Stewie, and everybody else who knows me.
Okay.
Two more things. I've been playing the Resident Evil Village game this week, Alan.
All right.
The Resident Evil Village game, by the way, this week.
Is it been good?
Yeah, it's been good. You play as a man called Ethan Winters. You've got to go and find your baby because your baby's been stolen by somebody.
What's the baby called?
The baby's called Rose, and there's a man called Chris in it who goes a bit nuts.
Oh, right.
Yep.
But you're having a good time with it, though. That's the main thing.
Yeah, I'm having a good time. Great. What you doing tomorrow, Alan? What you got planned for tomorrow, by the way?
I'm gonna write a thing. But that's all I can say at the moment. But hey, good stuff. Thank you for coming on, Matthew.
Can you put us on the YouTube so I can hear it back? Because when I go to listen, it won't let us listen to the call. It just cuts my call off in the middle. I don't know what's gone wrong.
As long as you get on the show before the last break, you'll hear yourself, and you'll definitely hear yourself on this one. All right? No worries. Thank you for calling. There's Matthew. Let's move swiftly on, because for a moment I thought I had Alison there, but Alison has disappeared. Not to worry. We had an email. Where's that email? Let me just quickly... Oh, there it is. And this one is from Ian, who says, whatever happened to Jackie and Johnny, who used to come on the show? Well, it all went a bit pear-shaped for Jackie and Johnny, and it started with a row about, well, the strangest thing.
I've always been against having a wheelie bin because of the smell, but she just won't have it outside.
Right.
He just wants an easy life. I tell you the trouble with him, Alan. He's just too lazy. He just can't be bothered to get his finger out. Really, but Alan, I was at the bottom of that stairs for a good 15 minutes. I was shouting for help and she wouldn't come down and help us. But you know, I don't like to be disturbed when I'm watching me loose swimming.
Well, there you go. So that was the beginning. And then we heard that the game was up.
What a life I've got when I leave that house. I'll just get to the club. Oh, before the won't stop. I could get down, yeah, mate. I need a cup of tea. Get down. I need some snack. Oh.
So can she not make tea for herself?
She's lazy, Alan.
Right, well, but the thing is, if you don't do it, then she'll have to get up and do it herself, won't she?
What I've got to put up with if I don't do it, it's terrible, man. And I'm ordered. She likes the Greg's, right?
Right.
I'll go to Greg's for her, but there was this one morning. I went down the stairs and I got the cupboard under the stairs, right?
Right.
And there it comes trotting down the stairs whistling. making cups of tea and that.
Right.
I couldn't believe my eyes. I went back upstairs. I got out the cupboard. I went up the stairs. It was lying in the bed, going, eat my legs, my back. I thought, I know your game.
There you go, he'd sussed her. And then the end of the road.
You were standing there in front of the mirror with me mum's clothes on.
No.
My mum's been dead on 3 years, and he was standing. He was blowing kisses to himself in the mirror. Oh, I just couldn't believe what I was.
So what did you do?
Came round and he saw us. And he ran to the door and he slammed the door in my face. And I started screaming, you know.
So what happened when he finally came out then?
And I said, Johnny, what's going on? What was that all about? And he was saying, he tried to make an excuse, Alan, that he was missing your mum and that. And I said, look, Johnny, you're going to have to go. I can't be putting up with this. It's not. I said, it's twisted, you know.
Right. So has he gone?
He's gone. I kicked him out on the Monday morning, Alan.
Blimey.
He came this morning, Alan, knocking on the door, 9 o'clock, with a bunch of flowers.
Can you not forgive him? I mean, he was clarting about. He might have been just, having a daft laugh. He's bored one day. Puts some clothes on.
He had me mad black brassiere on. It was terrible. It was horrible.
No, I bet.
But like as I say, this morning he come knocking there 9 o'clock, and I thought, what you playing at? You know what? I don't get up until 10:30.